Good evening, and welcome to round three of the ASR it's not Supercars Development Series from Queensland Raceway. I'm Lewis Wedding, and once again joining me in the commentary box this evening, NZ Snipes, aka Kane Gray. Snipes, how's it going?
Yeah, mate. Look, going pretty well. The night's been kicked off with the Wars winning, so that's always a good thing. Up the Wars, and now we're going to settle in for some interesting racing. I'm sure coming out of Queensland Raceway. Quite an interesting track. It looks simple, but the corners can be deceptive, and they all offer a different challenge. Late apexes will be a theme here tonight. Should be good.
It should be good. Some fairly close times out there. Just looking at the moment on the server, the top was it the top 14 covered by a second, but there's some guys in there that have set qualifying times, and there's some other guys that I reckon with those times that are on race fuel. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting round, and of course tonight, Snipes, marks the first time that we're running a different format. So, previously in the Dev Series, the ASR Development Series, it's just mainly been three races and, well, one qualifying session, one race, or not one race, three races and away you go, with no compulsory pit stop tonight. Obviously, at the end of last year, and the one-off sort of Bathurst round where a longer race with a pit stop, many drivers hadn't even completed a pit stop in AMS before, and they found out the hard way it's not exactly easy. And it's not like iRacing and other sims where you can drive and goes through, cars in the pit lane. So there's one or two dramas there outside of the old championship decider debacle. But tonight, compulsory pit stops, two races that obviously are quite a bit longer than the normal sprint races that they do. It's going to throw a little bit of a spanner in the works tonight.
Yeah, you'd think it will throw a bit of a spanner in the works. Pit stops obviously just add a whole nother element of danger, and what I mean by danger is it's so easy to come in just a little bit too hot. You come in just a little bit too hot, bam, that's a drive-through. That's a lot of time to lose. That can drop you from the front positions to near the back so easily. And with that compulsory pit stop and the added element also of hard tires that all of our drivers will be on tonight, it's going to just throw a bit of a spanner into the works, particularly for the people who may not have had a lot of practice with pit stops and whatnot. Obviously, with the sprints so far, there hasn't really been a need provided you've kept out of trouble. So it's certainly going to throw a bit of a spanner into the works, and it's going to be interesting for our quite large field here to be looking at combating.
Yeah, 29 cars currently in the server, and there's still, I think, one or two people who've got to get back in as well. So I'm just looking at the moment. Luke Yabe got himself back in, but we've still got to get Rhodey and Kai Jones back into the server by the looks of things as well. So, although that being said, there is a Rhodey in the server, even though I look on the chat log. No, he has rejoined. So yeah, we are still looking at least 30 cars here tonight. And it is a small track, so space in qualifying is going to come at a premium as well. And, the pit lane with those pit stops, it might just be a case of, if you're sort of in the window where you want to pit and other people aren't pitting, just to come in, just so you avoid the mad dash into the pit lane. Because if there's another thing as well, Snipes, if there's a safety car tonight, it's going to be very interesting what's going to happen with that pit lane, especially if no one's pitted at that time, because fuel-wise, you can sneak home if there's, if you start with a full tank of fuel without pitting. You'd have to do a little bit of saving on the formation lap, but you should get there. But of course, you do have to pit. So, if it happens fairly early on in the race, we may see the whole field bungle into the pits, and it's going to be tight with 30 cars. So that'll be one to look out for.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, to add to that, you've got the concept of if a safety car comes out, that could sting someone's pit strategy real bad. Someone might decide to box early, say they're in traffic, and get a pit stop out of the way, get some clear air if they think they're faster than the guys in front, try for a big undercut. And that could be something that would be really good until a safety car happens about 4 laps after you've pitted, and everyone else just jumps in and gets essentially, or not a free stop, but a free stop over you anyway. So, yeah, the concept of just pitting really throws in a large spanner, adds in a whole lot of strategy. It's much more than just pace now. It is pace, it's timing, and it's recognizing the race conditions around you and being able to respond effectively.
Yeah, you're not just looking at the timing tree to the left-hand side or the leaderboard to your left and thinking, okay, I'm in this position. If I don't make a mistake, I'm going to finish here. So now you've got to factor in, okay, I think I'm in this position, but these guys have pitted. And if you don't have someone spotting you or anything like that, or you don't have one of those special HUDs that show what other lap times people are doing, you might find yourself at the end of the pit stop sequence down a couple positions because you've maybe stayed out a little bit too long. And that is going to play in tonight, because I have seen some stints from people, and I have seen what happens when you get a little bit of fuel taken out of the tank, and when you take fuel out and put new tyres on after, or when you're doing a race stint as well. So the pit stop is going to be a big weapon around here, and how you use it could decide if you finish, say where you want to finish, or well above or well below where you want to finish. So that's going to be something to look out for in both the races tonight. Another thing as well, 2 qualifying sessions. So if you stuff up the first race, you can at least redeem yourself in qualifying, and you're not starting at the back of the field for the second race. So that's another little one that sort of mimics the current ASR Supercars Championship twin sprint format in a way. It's actually 1 lap less around this circuit. I think being 5 kilometers shorter in length. So it will get these guys used to the format.
Yeah, it certainly will, and that's the concept of the development series, right? We're trying to develop drivers, get them used to, hopefully, being able to step up to supercars tier at some point. Some will be sooner, some will be a bit later, but in the end, it's all development. And things like tonight, hard tyres, pit stops are challenges you'll definitely have to face in main game. And if you really want to step up to that, it's something you'll need to adapt for and overcome. So it'll be a test for drivers, no doubt. And it's certainly going to be interesting to see how they respond, because it's one thing putting down a good lap, but it's another thing having a concept of strategy and what to do and when to do it, and then pulling the trigger.
Yeah, when do you pull the trigger is the question. That's something these guys will be finding out. But we'll go over right now and just have a look at the circuit. It was hinted upon that it is a simple layout. You look at it, and of course it does look like the paperclip, or a paperclip. But all the corners, while being similar sort of lengths and radiuses, they're all slightly different in their own way. So you got obviously turn 2, longest corner on the circuit, but it's actually not as quite as sharp as, say, turn 1, for example. Turn 3 is fairly tight, but it opens up on the exit. And then you got 4 and 5 as well, where 4's a little bit tighter than 5, and 6 is, and again, a little bit like turn 3, but it just holds its radius. It doesn't really open up. So very short circuit, as you can see on the left-hand side there. 1 minute 8.1 was by Daniel Cox in 2021. That's the qualifying lap record. Of course, that was set on the soft tyre. But records don't matter what tyre you set it on. A record is a record. So at least for this year, I'd imagine that Coxie's going to hold on to that. And the race record, Mitch McGovern, Lion Mitch, 108.342. So again, I think both those are safe, but just never know. Maybe someone gets a mega toe, puts some fresh tyres on at the end of the race, and has a right old crack.
Yeah, look, wouldn't that be incredible to see on hard tyre race, setting some lap records in qualifying and the race? But look, to be fair, the qualifying pace right now in the field, the top guy, Aidan Williams, one of our actual guests, I believe. I'm pretty sure it's his first race with us.
Yep.
And he's led throughout the entire series and the entire week, the practice server, with a time of 108.647. So he's half a second off, but he's also only half a second, not even half a second off. That's pretty out the gate on what is a much harder compound of tyre.
Yeah, that is a fairly handy lap time. Of course, Anthony Green continuing on his solid form from the start of the season as well. Currently fastest in the practice session. They're in the driver's briefing at the moment, but his time at the moment on 108.795 will be the fastest of the official practice session. And while we do still have a minute to go, might as well go over the drivers' standings after round 2. And John McDonald leads the way on 484. Fairly strong round at Sydney Motorsport Park. Of course, a couple of drivers have been promoted. Leonard Grossel and Ryan Smith there in 8th and 9th are now Supercars drivers, of course. We've also had a couple promotions from Super 3 to Super 2. One of them, of course, being Anthony Green, who currently sits 3rd in the championship on 444 points. With Darren Kemp, of course, in 2nd. Brap in 4th place with Steve Warwick in 5th. Steve DeVries, Super 3 driver, has been a fill-in really for the first 2 rounds and finds himself 6th place overall. So he's not out there tonight. I believe he's just running things. But you might look at that and wonder, why not just go around again, Snipes, if you find yourself P6 and you've had a solid start to the season. But obviously giving it a miss tonight. And then we have Brandon Dostal 7th. Lennart Gross, of course, promoted in 8th, Smith 9th, and then Darren Loughnane rounding out the top 10. And then across to the team standings, holding together PBF Academy, that's John McDonald and Brapp leading the way fairly comfortably at the moment, with actually a Super 3 team with Anthony Green and Hayden Cooper in 2nd. But of course, that team's now split up with Anthony Green promoted to Super 2. So I will probably drop off quite a bit. APK Sim Sports with Matt Cecil and Darren Kemp, 302 points behind first place. And then Skill Issue Racing, Darren Loughnane and Jesse Bennett, another Super 3 team. They're doing a good job, 4th overall. Beyond Racing in 5th, Playroo in 6th. Albeit they've had Stephen DeVries jump in with them. So Brian Walsh, Glenn Miles and Steve DeVries should be the names there. Anglo-Germanic Motorsport, that's now a single car team, of course, with Lennart Grossel promoted to the main series. Then we have PBF Team HRT Radio in 8th. Black Shores WRT in 9th, single car entry of Steve Warwick. And then Sideways Esports with the Super VE of Ryan Smith and Jake Burke. Of course, Ryan Smith has been promoted, so that leaves just Jake Burke in that. So I would expect to see a lot of changes in the team championships in the next couple of rounds, with some drivers, of course, being promoted to both the supercars and from Super 3 to Super 2. But at the moment, looking quite comfortable for holding together PBF Academy, with both their drivers picking up points pretty much in the top 5 and 6 every race so far for those two. But not too far away here, Snipes. And it's going to be an interesting session.
Yeah, it should be an interesting session. There's a few front runners looking probably towards hopefully setting the lap. You know, there's people that have put in Jeepers Creepers. Some people are putting over 400 laps. But yeah, getting the lap right is going to be difficult, as we've kind of suggested. And as we saw when we went to Sydney Motorsport Park, there's not going to be a heck of a lot of space on track. And there is going to be a lot of vehicles. And timing your run is going to be absolutely necessary if you wish to put in a good lap. Because if you get caught up behind someone that's slower than you, they don't have to get out of the way if they're on a qualifying lap. So it could really hold you up. And we've seen it happen already a few times this season. So will it happen again here tonight?
Yeah, that's the question. That is the question. And yeah, definitely if you are one of the obviously guys looking to want to be in the top 5 or 6 on the grid, you are going to need that clean run. With so many cars out there, it's vital that you get yourself out there in a little bit of clean air. Or even if you're not in clean air, Snipes, maybe try and pick a pack where you're with other drivers of your speed or a little bit faster, just so you can have that space in front of you and not really have to worry about being balked. So that's something that these drivers are going to have to sort of figure out. And maybe even go the alternate way, where, as we've seen many times, both in supercars, Dev, GT3, doesn't matter what we do, casual series, you see it pretty much every time. At the start of the qualifying session, you got 3/4, if not more, 90% of the field just lining up on the pit exit. So I wonder if one or two drivers just sit back and wait 30 seconds, 40 seconds, and then just give themselves half the track to themselves.
Yeah, I tell you what, I think that's a pretty good strategy. It's certainly worked out for me in the past, where you've just sat out, you wait for the trainer cars to go, you wait about another 10-15 seconds, you trundle out, you get free track. Will it be a factor on a track this short? Possibly. You might be able to still get away with it, but you also have to consider that you cannot wait too long, because they'll be back around real quick, and once P1, or once the first guy goes around, you've got a whole train of cars behind him.
Yeah, so we're just waiting at the moment. I think the server's just syncing up. We are in the qualifying session. And there we go. Yeah, so it has unsynced itself. It's taken a while because there's so many cars out there. And I'm just holding this shot on the pit exit here, and you can see it's a very busy pit lane.
Yeah, plenty of people rushing to get out there. They've lost a little bit of time now, so they'll be itching to get out and set a lap. You don't get a lot of time to set the lap. You can do 200 whatever laps you want in practice, but you've got 10 minutes to put something on the board, and that includes an out lap and a few extra seconds for automobilista to work a few things out. But many cars exiting the pit lane. But you see a few of these guys here out the back, they might not have a bad run of it here. They'll have a little piece of track to themselves, you'd fancy.
Yeah, so we've got Steve Warwick. We've got Green. I think that's Muddle as well there, and Brown. And there's Cracker all leading. These guys are going to have fairly uninterrupted first lap here, provided they don't spear off. And you can just see in the background the first of the drivers to leave the pit lane about to start their lap. So I'm just going to try and cycle my way through. That should be Ethan Knight, so just bear with me a second. And here we are, first lap. Ethan Knight, through turn 1 he comes.
Reasonably clean through there. He's basically going to want to set a bank at turn 2. It's a bit of a late apex here. He's done reasonably well to juggle the throttle. Not too bad. Gets on the power. No butt wiggle out there, which is obviously ideal. Now turn 3 here is quite a heavy braking zone, probably the heaviest on the circuit. It's the sharpest stop, no doubt. And then it really opens up on the way out. So getting on the power is essential to getting a good run down here towards turn 4 and turn 5. The double left-hander, the only left-handers on the circuit. Really the flow part of the circuit here. You really want to dance on the throttle and get on the power, and then just feather it around here and get on the power as early as you can to push it up the straight towards the final corner, turn 6, which is just another one of these ones where you've got to tip it in a little bit and wait, and get on the power as early as you can, dance it out. He's missed the apex a little bit, but it won't be a terrible banker to get things on the board. He's still got plenty of clear track in front of him.
Yeah, so 10-1 for Ethan Knight. Not his best lap, but still, as you said, solid banker to get things underway. And Darryl Callahan goes P2. Got Jesse Bennett in P3. Seeing Scott Murrell and Ryan Smith light up the times in the first and second sectors respectively. And we see Smith go to P1 now in his new mobile. Might as well get it up on screen. Nice looking car. Painted by none other than Daniel Cox. So he's done a great job with that livery. And
bit of a legend, old Cox. He is now among the scene here, painting a bunch of these cars. A lot of the field, Cox has had a bunch of work in.
Yep, and we've got another newcomer, Aiden Williams, on debut here. P1, 109.5. Again, not as fast as what we've seen in the practice sessions, but these guys just getting back into the swing of things after the driver's briefing. A little bit of a break, and now Anthony Green, P1 at 109.3. And Scott Murrell, purple in Sector 1, but it looks like he's had a little bit of traffic here. And he's actually having to fight it here in a turn 4 with one of the Super 3 cars there, and he backs out of it. So it looks like that lap's done for him. Ethan Knight improves again. And Steve Warwick in P5. And just looking at the moment for some quicker times. We've got Steve Warwick at the moment. Good first sector here. Have a little bit of a tow from the car in front as well. See what he's able to manage here.
Oh, a little bit deep. Just a little bit, ever so slightly into turn 4 there.
He's up again.
Reasonable turn 5, yes, he is up 3/10 on his PB, and he's up on first. So if he can keep it clean and keep it quick through this last corner, we may see him put himself to the top. He's gone deep.
Yeah.
He's gone too deep, Lewis.
Yeah, just a little bit too late on the brakes. Got a little bit too excited that he was up. And he's going to blow all that time. He's still going to go to P2 though, so if he didn't make that mistake, he would have, I'm sure, put himself into P1 provisionally, and this lap's going to, I reckon, well, it might be, no, I don't think he's going to get lucky with traffic here. Yeah, he's going to have to get out of it. So the car in front of him before that was actually Anthony Green, just in front of him. And we did see
Steve. He's got his foot in it here.
Still going for it. 2/10 down. I was going to say stick with him, but he's just bowled a little bit wide there at turn 3, and I reckon he's probably cost himself a little bit more time here. Aiden Williams is going fairly well on this lap. 24.2 in the first sector. And and Scott Miles another one. He's actually gone faster. He's gone to P2 now, just shy of pole position. What can Williams do though? And he'll now go to P2, so less than a tenth between the top 5 cars now. So there's another improvement as well. Hayden Cooper finds himself in P4 as well in his new paint. Well, diabetes awareness. I believe his mother is diagnosed with diabetes, so that's why he's got that new paint on his car. These guys
sorry to cut off there, Lewis. He's been showing a lot of form here, I think, Cuba. He's been racing really quite well, I thought.
Yeah, he's definitely put in the time here at Queensland. But one thing I am noticing here is a lot of these drivers, Snipes, have done fairly long runs here in the qualifying session. So they're not just going for 1 lap, they're going 2, 3, sometimes even 4 laps into a stint before going back to the pits here.
Yeah, it's an interesting strategy. I mean, you want to get your tyres up to kind of optimum temperature, right? But I mean, you know, you're still going to be losing percent essentially. You're going to be losing grip as you drive more. So, you know, you want to get a couple of good laps at 2, maybe 3, and if your 4th lap's green, then I suppose press on. But I reckon once that's not green, then you bail out of it, you know.
Yeah, so we're seeing a lot of drivers now going back to the pits and starting a new run. So just a little bit of a lull at the moment. Just trying to look through the field. Actually, I might as well go through a quick little run through. So I've got green at the moment. It's about to start another lap. And then we have Aiden Williams in the pits, Scott Murrell on an outlap, Cooper on an outlap, Steve Warwick on an outlap, Ethan Knight on an outlap, Kai Jones is in the pits, John McDonald on an outlap and bowling a wide. Got Rat out there, he's on a time lap. And then we have Ryan Smith in 11th. Darren Loughlin 12th, Darren Kemp in 13th, he's struggling at the moment. Jesse Bennett now down to 15th, Crackers in the gravel trap in 16th, Jaeger, Rhodey, Matt Cecil, Chase Tippett, Lindsay Muddle, another one on debut, Brendan Dostal, Angus Brown, Mark Davey, Brian Walsh, Laszlo Teglas, Damo and Glenn Miles, Melody Smith and Jamie Walker. It sounds like someone's had an accident there. Not sure where, there's not too many walls out there, but someone's definitely hit something out there.
Lots of movers and shakers there, Lewis, as people get laps. And Reece McGillivray, notable jump there, went from 19th to 8th, had a purple second sector. So he's definitely got some pace in that car, possibly a bit more than what he's showing. But he's only not even 3/10 away from P1, and he's down in 8th. So it's a wildly competitive field here. Absolutely incredible. First to 18th, we've got not even a second.
And Green was up in the middle sector but lost time. We've got Steve Warwick now up on his own PB and up on Green. You did see on his flying lap bowler wide at the final corner. Can he pull it up this time and recover even more time here? He's still a little bit wide. Not ideal, but I think a little bit better than his previous run. But what can he do? What will the stopwatch say? And it will say P4. So he did improve on his own time, but there's definitely more time in it for Steve. Currently P4.
Yeah, it looks like he's just wrestling the car a little bit, battling with understeer, trying to pull it up just a little bit late, just a touch late on the brakes, and you go so slightly deep, and you know that can be the difference between tenths of a second, really. So unfortunate, but he's definitely got the pace in the car, I think, to stick it on pole if he can put it together.
He's certainly got it there. He's got all the sectors there, just can't put together really that last corner. It's costing him. Callahan in 6th, doing a good job. Ethan Knight 7th at the moment. No one lighting up the timing screens. A lot of drivers now find themselves in traffic. McGillivray running wide. He's 10th down on his own time. He's got Smith behind him. Looks like Kai Jones has done a fairly handy first sector. He's lighting up on live races at the moment. A championship leader in 10th place. Kai Jones, yeah, half a tenth up on his own time. Quarter of a tenth down on Green. Able to get it in much better than Warwick. Oh, big slide, power slide on the exit. That's going to cost him a little bit of time. And that's the end of the session. And crazy close times Currently, Anthony Green on provisional pole. He's on a lap at the moment. He's 3/10 up on his own time here. So he's looking to almost break into 108 territory here. One corner to go. What can he do?
He's gone for a bit of an early apex. Tried to double apex and he's got a little bit taily on the exit, so he's probably lost a little bit of time, but he had 3/10 in hand. That's a lot of time, and he puts a 109.125 on the board to blitz away from the field a little bit, at least comparatively, for how tight this field truly is. So a great time there from Anthony Green, and I think that's going to take it.
Yeah, not seeing really any fast times at the moment. Did see Bratt move up late there, up into P7. We've got a couple Super 3 runners, of course, with Cooper and Callahan in 5th and 6th. And then, yeah, it's a very interesting, very close session with the top 15 drivers separated by a second. And then from 15th all the way down to Laszlo Teglas, they were separated by 8/10 of a second. So 1.8 seconds covers first through to 26th place. That's very, very tight. So, you know, you're talking 1 or 2/10 of a second. If you find that, you're going to find yourself 3 or 4 positions, nice.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the key to the game, right? Stitching it together, just finding as much as you can in that short session, because every 10th really can count. 10ths can count for so much. You're really right there, and just being able to stitch it together really helps you at the start. It's a lot less hectic on the front couple of rows than it is 4 or 5 rows back. Let me tell you, I'm sure all of us understand that quite well, actually. So the further up you can be, the better it is for you.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, just that little bit, and it's just little bits here or there. Could be, you know, just getting that nose in at the apex, or, you know, just getting that traction on the way out of a corner is all it is between, you know, yourself and a couple positions down the road. Like, for example, Steve Warwick was one where he'd put that lap together 3 or 4 times and, yeah, just got himself to the final corner and just couldn't quite pull it up. Couldn't quite get the nose in and then get on the throttle early and get out. He had to sort of wait for the nose to come around and for the car to straighten itself up before he could get on the power again. So he'll be a little bit disappointed, but we have seen he's a quick racer. And I think tonight, even though qualifying is important, I think race management is going to be the key. When you pit and how hard you race and when you race people snipes is going to decide this race.
100%. We are looking at strategy tonight. We're looking at how well can you do it for a longer period of time. The pressure of qualifying is now over, so now all these drivers, they'll get a warm-up session, they'll get to quickly switch to race mode, they'll hopefully do some pit lane practices because they're going to be coming in during the race and you don't want to cake it. Some starts I'm sure will be done, but yeah, now it's just going to be getting into that mindset of we're going to be driving long stints now, we're going to be racing people and being mindful of what your race is. That's a really good point, Lewis, because being mindful of who you are racing and how you are racing and at how your racing affects your car is very important in these longer races, because the harder you go, the less you'll have later.
Yeah, that's certainly going to be the case. And even then, like, we see our championship leader, John McDonald, in 12th place. We see, you know, other guys that you'd expect to see further up, even Darren Kemp there in 10th place. These guys might find themselves down a little bit in qualifying, but in the race, they have better race management and strategy where, you know, they're not burning their tyres or overworking the car, but they still might find themselves in the pack. So for those guys, it might be best to come in early and get in clear air, and then they can find time that way. Or they could even go the inverse, or Shane Van Gisbergen Red Bull strategy, and just go super long and then, you know, maybe overcut people. But I think tonight, if you want track position, because you can defend here to a point, I think going just that little bit earlier is going to be the key in getting yourself just that 1 or 2 positions that you need, you know, further down the road. So that's certainly going to be something to look out for.
definitely. Quick side note, Lewis. I personally actually think Queensland Raceway, at least in ASR, or in real life actually, has produced some pretty banging races, but definitely in ASR. So I'm looking forward to hopefully some plenty of side-by-sides, plenty of action in this circuit. Looking for a hot zone down at turn 3. Lots of moves like to happen there. But, we can also, moves can be done into many of the corners here, which is a really cool part of the circuit.
Yeah, you can pass on pretty much. I've seen passes at every corner on this circuit. In real life, you do get a mixed bag sometimes because it is a test track, of course, for quite a number of the teams. You can get some dull racing in real life, but you can also get some good racing. But definitely in the sim, we've seen some really fantastic wheel-to-wheel racing, and that's from lap 1 through to the last lap. It's not just a strategy thing, or a driver's come from after a penalty from the back of the field and come through and won or anything like that. It's more through just the nature of the circuit. There's a bit of a slipstream, just the style of it brings the field a little bit closer together. But it's also got that wear factor with the tyres that you do have to manage the car a little bit. It's got that really nice mix of just about everything, although it can be a little bit dull. It is the layout itself, it's got some nice corners on it, but you put them all together and it can be a little bit dull at times to sort of drive and lap on your own. But yeah, it does produce some great racing.
Well, we're only a minute and a bit away now, Lewis, from racing kicking off for the evening. How do you see it going? Yeah, we'll ask the question we've been asking. Safety cars, yay or nay?
I think there will be at least one safety car tonight. I don't think there'll be safety cars in both races. I think we'll get one race where we'll go green or lights out to check it without any safety cars. But there will be one tonight where we will get at least one safety car. And as we've seen around here in pretty much every race that we've had a safety car, that's generally led to another safety car straight after it, with all the pack being condensed up and people looking to make moves in the first 3 corners. So I think, yeah, when we do get one, which I think we'll get one, it'll probably lead to at least 2. But hopefully the driver's a little bit better behaved. But usually that's the case at this circuit. But as for the results, I honestly don't know, because pace-wise, there's numerous drivers out there that have speed, but again, like as you said earlier, it's a lot easier to set one fast lap there. You could fluke it. I've done it myself many times, where you're doing practice times and you're out there just pushing hard, pushing crazy, and just all comes together, and you get to the race night and you can't string more than 5 laps together without locking your brakes somewhere. So that throws that up anyway in the Dev Series, the consistency, and then you're chucking a pit stop, which we've only seen at Bathurst before. I think it's going to be very interesting and very difficult to sort of judge how some of these drivers who haven't really had to deal with strategy handle it. So I honestly don't know. I think almost anybody in the top 15 could win this race if they're consistent enough.
Well, there you go. Anyone in the top 15, Lewis from the fence. Now, I'm gonna go out and say here. Sorry, Lewis. I'm gonna go out and say here. I think Steve Warwick's in with a really good shot. I think that while there was a bit of inconsistency in perhaps finding the right lap in qualifying, he's there or thereabouts. And I think in the races when he's kept his nose clean, he's done very well. And that's obviously the key, as it always is in Dev Series. I harp on about it, but it's the key. Keep it, if you're making mistakes, make them small mistakes. But I think he's now got the experience in the league and in Automobilista and V8s in general. He can really put it together here and possibly spook some of these faster guys with some of his experience.
Yeah, he's certainly got the pace. He's very experienced, and if he can just get off the line well, I reckon, yeah, he's definitely in with a good shout. We didn't quite put it together in qualifying, but we do know he's got pace and consistency. So definitely one of the favourites in this one. Obviously, Anthony Green has been quick all season. finally gets his chance to move up into Super 2, running the FGX. And I reckon that car that has been painted, the Dan Murphy's Mobile, I think that car looks better on the FGX than what it does on the FG. So Hayden Cooper, that painted it, has done a good job on that one. And of course, we do have Ryan Smith, another one of the guys that has been promoted up to Super 2. And as we've mentioned, again, nice looking car. That one, you certainly won't miss it. With the different shades of purple, black, and the gold. And we're just waiting for everybody to jump in at the moment. And I know we're on air, but just to give you a little bit of heads up, we will have driver interviews after the first race. So it is a little bit of a different night. So
it probably helps my memory bank, bro. 3 races is hard to remember. I've got the memory of a fucking goldfish. So you know, we'll roll with that. It'll be fresh on the mind. I'm happy with that.
Yeah. So we will. We'll definitely have the interviews after race 1 and of course race 2. But and then once those interviews are conducted and finished, we'll have a short break ourselves because I can already feel my throat getting a little bit dry. So I better grab myself a cold one and cold one. In fact, we've got a soundboard for that, and well, we're here, so we might as well play.
Here we go.
The cold one. Cold one.
Beautiful. Right as the race ticks over, you know, I've never fucking done that before, Lewis, and I've actually resisted the urge to join in, but just for you there, cracking that, and I figured why not. We have ticked over to the race session.
Yep.
Here we go. Once everyone synchronizes their asses into place, they will grid up. We'll get a formation lap underway. It's not going to be an incredibly long one. I imagine I'll read out some fellas who have placed in particular places in qualifying, and then shenanigans.
Yep. No, I don't know if it'd be race 1 or race 2, but I can definitely see turn 3 at some stage being. Unfortunately, it's just the nature of the corner. I can definitely see it end up being a bit of a pinball action down there and calls for a safety car on the opening lap. So hopefully it doesn't happen, but my experiences and my many years of running it around this circuit says otherwise. So we're just about to get the formation lap underway, and I've got a surprise for you. So Snipes, lead us away.
Well, on pole tonight in Super 2 for the first time officially is Anthony Green, and starting alongside him on debut tonight, Aidan Williams. What an effort. Scott Murrell starting out of P3, bringing in the Nissan. Yes, sorry, I love Nissans. Steve Warwick out of P4, good effort from him. Hayden Cupid out of P5 in the FG, Super 3, excellent. Daryl Callahan, out of P6, another fantastic effort from Super 3 runner in the top 10. Rap starting out of P7, alongside him is Ethan Knight, he certainly showed some pace early. Reese McGillivray starting out of P9 for this one, and alongside him is P2 in the championship, Darren Kemp. Kai Jones starting out of P11 tonight of race 1, and John McDonald, our championship leader, out of P12. Ryan Smith, probably a little bit further back than he'd hoped to be, starting out of P13 with Darren Loughnane. I believe our Super 3 championship leader, starting out of P14. I could be wrong on that. Jesse Bennett starting out of P15 tonight, with Cracker starting from the pit lane, so he must have missed the start unfortunately for Cracker. Brandon Dostal starting out of P17, with Luke Yeager starting alongside him out of P18. Brody is starting out of P19, with Lindsay Muddle starting out of P20. Matt Cecil coming out P21 here, with Chase Tippett on debut tonight in a Nissan out of P22. Angus Brown starting out of P23 tonight, with Mark Davey out of P24. Brian Walsh, good to see him out there, out of P25 tonight, of Laszlo Teglis from P26. Damo starting out of P27, with Melody Smith out of P28. Glenn Miles, another battler, great to see you go out there tonight. Also Glenn starting out of P29, with Jamie Walker and P30, and rounding out our grid just in time. How good.
Yeah. There's a massive amount of cars on the grid, and looks like Lindsay Muddle's done an old Giancarlo Fisichella out there. He's completely missed his grid spot and his person back and gone in the middle of the circuit, and he's still out of position by quite a ways there. His box is well behind him, so he'll definitely get a warning for that one. He's rolling back, and so I think that's it's Luke Yeager down there that also had to roll back. So that's what's causing the delay at the moment. We shouldn't be too far away. They'll get the old 1 minute reset. And maybe another driver out there, maybe Walsh. He's on a bit of an angle down the back there as well. But there we go. We're all set. There's your grid. 30 cars will contest race one here from Queensland. Away we go. Poor start from second place man there. Steve Warwick with the great start. He's on the outside of mile for 2. He's going to try and get second. He's going to try and sweep around the outside for first.
Not wide. He's off.
Oh, do they get through there safely? Well, relatively so. A little bit of contact there. Is the black and green FGX and Jesse Bennett off. So Teklas up a little bit. But now with that run, now it's Scott Murrell versus Anthony Green here into the treacherous turn 3.
Anthony Green slightly on the inside of the track there, playing a little bit defensive. Steve Warwick ranging up also mightily on the back there, possibly going a bit deep, but the battle is certainly on. Scott Murrell right up the backside of Anthony Green here. He's applying the blowtorch into turn 4. The double left-hander. There's a little bit of Morse code going on there, a little bit of bump and grind through turn 4 and turn 5. It's a part of the track where you're really dancing on the accelerator, and he's really applying the pressure. Anthony Green going defensive now into turn 6. Murrell a little bit deeper on the brakes, but he's on the outside. It's hard to get an advantageous line. Will he try and get a better run, possibly go over under? No. Green will hold the position into 1.
Yeah, so 1 lap done. We've already seen plenty of racing. And Anthony Green holding on. I'm surprised. Oh, is his run wide there? Murrell's also run a little bit wide. I'm surprised you haven't seen Steve Warwick range up to the back of these guys here. With these guys battling side by side, perhaps another one's had an okay start up into 5th. Kemp another one up into P6, a solid start from him. As we see the run here from Murrell. He's going to have a look here into 3. Got Bratt looking to make a move on Callahan in the back. So it's all happening. Bratt very deep under brakes, and he's on the grass even, while his teammate battles with Ryan Smith. A little bit of contact there. So again, so much happening. I can't keep up with it all.
Yeah, it is absolutely on like Donkey Kong, as we say, Lewis. I'm sorry for roping you in on that, only I say that. But it's absolutely battle stations out there, as we're seeing jockeying for position throughout the field, but the battle at the front, it's so enticing again. Anthony Green hugging the inside into turn 6, the last corner. Murrell's trying to get a bit of run. He's got a little bit onto the bumper there, a bit of Morse code again, just letting them know he's there. Warwick, as we see now, still right in this, you know, all it takes is a little mistake. Warwick's right there, and the battling is it's going to turn into a 3-way here, Lewis.
Yeah, none of them can quite got turn 1 right. And yeah, I think Steve Warwick just playing for the 2-for-1 special with Murrell and Green battling on here. They're still managing to put a gap on Callahan, who is battling, of course, with Bratt. He's starting to form a little bit of a train with Darren Kemp there, and even Hayden Cooper, who we did see battling early on the last lap, as well as started to form up. And Bratt on the inside, not quite going to get the run deep there from Kai Jones. And one thing I am noticing, where is John McDonald at the moment? So John McDonald, a championship leader, he was running in 11th place.
He's dead last. He's pitted. He's come out of the lane.
Yeah, he's come into the pit, so playing the long game here.
Yeah, that's certain. So we're seeing one of the players here, possibly a smart choice, a little bit further back, John, than perhaps he'd like to be, perhaps losing time to people in front of him. Trying the long game. He's going real early on that one. It's almost as early as you can go.
Yeah, he'll definitely be able to get to the end on a full tank of fuel, but I think the clear air for him is important, so he's just wanting to get out and just be consistent out there. We've got safety car. Safety car. That could be crucial for McDonald here. So all these guys, if they slow up, they can't pass at the moment, and we've got Anthony Green just slowing down. So if these guys all pit under safety car, This could be an absolute masterstroke from John McDonald because Anthony Green not pushing at the moment, and that means the rest of the field aren't really going to be driving 100% either. So if McDonald just goes out there flat out, he should be able to make up position. So we've got a car entering the pit lane.
McDonald's on the front straight right now, so he's
still he's still a while away, of course. We don't know if there's any, you know, if he got fired off or anything like that and then just decided to pit. But you know, just riding on board Green at the moment, and he's travelling as if he's behind the safety car. So one would imagine that the rest of the field aren't particularly driving flat out either. So I'd expect everyone will pit, and that's also good for Brap. He doesn't have to double stack. Some of these drivers haven't practiced it, and they'll find themselves
oh boy.
So look at this car, and we'll stick with this camera here and just look at this unfold.
Yeah, this is going to be absolutely wild as everyone just scrambles in to try fit into the box. There's contact. Oh no!
There it is.
The pit lane's jammed nearly, Lewis. It's nearly gone.
The pits is jammed, and people are having to stop in the pit lane. Oh, that's a reverse in the pit lane. Some people haven't even gotten to their box yet. So absolute drama has unfolded in the pit lane. Where's John McDonald ended up out of all that? So John McDonald, after pitting on the previous lap, is still behind a number of guys that haven't pitted. But he's now in 13th place, so he's actually ahead of his teammate on the circuit. So on corrected standing order, he would have moved up at least 7 or 8 positions.
He certainly has there. That's been, well, actually, no, look at that.
He's moved up more because Scott Murrell is effective race leader. He's the effective race leader. And John
McDonald's P2.
And John McDonald will be P2 after everybody pits. Perhaps P3. Then we've got Steve Warwick. Anthony Green's dropped down. Kai Jones, of course, was one of the drivers that got tipped around in the pit lane. Cooper is behind him. Matt Cecil, he pitted a lap, well, as the safety car was called. So he's moved up a heap of positions as well, or will move up a heap of positions. And then Darren Loughlin, Darren Kemp, Lindsay Muddle, Brendan Dostal, Luke Yeager, Mark Davey, Jesse Bennett, Aiden Williams, the big loser out of all of that. And then we have Brian Walsh and Ryan Smith was another one that was caught up in that pit lane drama. There's going to be blow-ups galore, but right now we've got a Super 3 car leading. He has to pit. Ethan Knight has to pit. Rhodey has to pit. McGillivray, Angus Brown have to pit. Chase Tippett has to pit, as does Melody Smith and Glenn Miles. Laszlo Teglas, Cracker, both have to pit. Our effective race leader, Scott Murrell. And these guys are going to be on some interesting tyres at the end of the race. That said, though, Snipes, this safety car period will mean that they are going to save their tyres a little bit. So they won't be like they're pitting on lap 4 or 5 and going to the end. They'll have at least some laps where they've been going around slowly and haven't used up too much of the time, but it's still going to be a struggle at the back end of this race.
Yeah, it certainly will. You know, boxing really early. In this case, you know, a lot of the field's hand was essentially forced by the safety car and everyone else around them boxing. These people that have stayed out are now at a large strategic disadvantage unless they can get another safety car, really. But even so, without being able to power away from the field, they would be at the back of the pack.
Yeah, so essentially, yeah, they need to go as long as they can and pray for a safety car. Speaking of the safety cars coming in, not everybody's caught it either. Ethan Knight's got himself a penalty that'll probably get cleared, but he's not done anything untoward. The leader's gone. So Callahan's gone early once he's got the green. And the field's going to be a little bit strung out here. So there you go. A bit of a gap there between Tippett and Smith, Miles. And then we get the first of our effective drives, Matt Cecil and Hayden Cooper making a move there into turn 1. But going to be interesting now. Murrell, our effective race leader, John McDonald right behind him. He's got to be patient with this lap track, but he's also got to get through it without losing too much time with the cars behind.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a very interesting part of the race because there may be slower people in front of you, people making mistakes as we've just seen there, locking up. You've got to find a way to get past these people safely and fairly, because in the end, even though you've got a pit stop over them,
well, McDonald's out of nowhere, Josh McDonald, there's a battling going on between Murrell and Tegla. He's got the better run, and he's now got the effective race lead. So there we go. And now we've got Brap looking to battle hard with Teglas, who, he battles hard as well. And McDonald's going around. What's happened there? What has happened there? And just cut to a replay and find out what happened. So, right on board Mr. McDonald. If thing wants to play ball, there we go. Oh, it's just been caught out. He's been caught out by the slower car in front. And all that hard work undone by just been caught up. He just needed to lift. He needed to lift and not make that contact. In real life, that wouldn't be a spin, but in AMS, you make that contact that light and at the front end, and unfortunately, it doesn't like it. So he's got to work his way back. Still good 10 cars that have to pit, so he's going to get himself back up into at least 26. But now he's got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's really going to set him back a bit. Like, he's still got plenty of time to work back, but that's a big one that really hurts the strategies. We can see Brandon Dostal up the inside there of Darren Loughlin, I believe it is, and they go side by side through turn 4 pretty well, as we see Brian Walsh there. I think it is a bit wide up the road. They battle through turn 4, turn 5, easily done, well done by Brandon Dostal, but Loughlin's not taking this line down. He's battling back, and jeepers, it is just an absolute log jam of cars here. Tell you what, it seems to be so easy just to make 2 or 3 moves if you can just get the right run. Everyone's just so clogged up still.
And this battle just continues side by side. Dostal and Loughlin here. We're going to have to contend, of course, with Teglas in a minute. Also got covering Williams there as well. Muddled in behind them. Part of that train, and McDonald also now starting to queue up as well. In fact, McDonald now getting by. Go Miles. Oh, and then there we go. Does get by in the end, and look, yeah, can try and follow through. But cut our way back towards the front, so go all the way ahead. Got Brett battling with Ethan Knight, who has yet to pit. Scott Miles battling with Rhodey. Now they are quasi-teammates, and Rhodey not making it entirely easy as Cracker comes into the pits, another quasi-teammate for Murrell, part of the same sort of stable. But Murrell now in the effective race lead, but 7 seconds away off the total lead. So Callahan's got speed in that thing, but strategy, he's going to need a safety car to get himself back in this one.
Yeah, certainly will. Speed, unfortunately, not quite everything, but an important thing to note here is what Murrell's done is he's actually put a couple of cars between him and his next pitted runner. So he's processed the traffic quite well, and he'll want to continue to process traffic in front of him as he's catching up to Chase Tippett, I believe, to hopefully get around him as we look towards Darren Loughlin making a move down the inside of Minnie. Oh my gosh, that is contact.
Yeah, and he's trying to redress it, but he's got all these other cars in the way. He should be doing that in a bit of a better spot. It looks like Yeager's around, and Teglas has been turned in the back there. Looks like Jesse Bennett is the one that caused it, as he's immediately slowed down. So, absolute bedlam at the moment. Cut to a replay of that, actually, and just see what unfolded. Again. There we go. So there's the move from Williams. A little bit of contact on Teglas. He's on the grass here. And also McDonald, and then again,
same thing.
Almost a reverse. It's the reverse of what happened between McDonald and Miles there. And this time Teglas went round instead of the car behind. Has been reduced, of course, though. But back to this angry pack. Smith, McDonald, Loughlin, Brown, all duking it out here. World Championship going on down here for 15th place.
Oh, it's certainly all on as everyone's just trying to find their place. Melody Smith diving out of the way for quite an angry battle pack racing by her, as we see Darren Loughlin just trying to shape to defend a little bit from John McDonald here, but John's got plenty of pace in that car, and he'll probably be looking to get his way as forward very quickly. A great run. Darren kind of gives him the inside, then kind of bullies him spatially.
Oh, he's deep, he's deep.
Too deep, he's locked it up, and that should be John McDonald by. It might even open the door for Smith to get by, and he does go draw side by side. He'll probably have the run down the straight, Lewis, but even at the very least, he'll have the inside into one.
Yeah, it's an awkward position. You don't really want to be trying to make a pass into turn one as McDonald goes deep into there and costs himself a little bit of time. But yeah, Loughlin holds on. McDonald recovers to 14th now. Next man down the road, Brandon Dostal, and then Matt Cecil. Aiden Williams, though, he's on a mission. He's passed all that pack, and now behind Kai Jones and Darren Kemp. So he'll find out pretty quickly how difficult it is to pass Mr. Kemp. As Kai Jones right now, I'm sure, is finding out to his chagrin.
Yes, quite. I don't know, he's quite a noted figure as old Darren Kemp. He ain't gonna just let anyone go for free, or for $10 for that matter. So he's just, he's always gonna make sure he's doing his best to keep you behind him, no matter what position it's for. Look, I admire the man's consistency to the cause.
Yep, he's not gonna give you anything. Even if you pay him, I don't think he wouldn't give you position. Every position is blood to him. And yeah, not making it easy at all. Not too far away from the pack in front. Got Cooper, Tippett. Oh, Cooper almost drops it on the exit of turn 3 there. Does manage to hold on. But got Anthony Green there as well, covering now into 6th place. A few guys still yet to pit. McGillivray and Warwick battling out. Bratt is 4th position as well. McGillivray still yet to pit. So this is effective 2nd place now between Bratt and Warwick. And these guys about 2.5 seconds away from Scott Morrill.
Yeah, he's still in their eyesights though. This is the kind of case of, do you sit here and battle for sheep stations for 2nd, or do you try and be a bit more reserved and conserve your tyres a little bit more in an effort to push to be able to catch back up to Morrill for 1st? As we see one of the, is that the field of fresh? I think it is.
That is the leader in the pits. We're also seeing McGillivray, and that's another one of those cars in the pits there.
Tippett, I think it is.
Yeah, Tippett in the pits.
No, apologies, I got that wrong. Everyone's dancing around, I can't work it out. Yeah. I'm too slow for this shit.
No, it's Chase Tippett. So Tippett, Callahan, and Callahan and yeah, McGillivray all in the pits there. So they're sorting their pit stops out. They're going to have all right tyres in the back half of this race. Another thing that will be interesting, what the tyres are going to be like for a number of these runners. Is McDonald, big dive. He's going to make contact with Cecil. Doesn't spin him around. He gets the position on Dostal. So deep dive. Gets the position. Gets himself into 10th place now. And immediately sets his sights on Cecil. Late move. Can he go 2 from 2? He's going to be deep under brakes. And he's not going to get it this time. Almost drops it on the exit. And he almost drops it on the exit again. Just overdriving it a bit now. And all this hard work's going to be undone. Just getting a little bit too excited on the loud pedal. As now Smith's going to try and go around the outside, the final turn.
Yeah, gosh, when it rains it pours, sometimes you make a mistake and you just try drive a bit faster to help that out, and it just makes things a little bit worse. Yeah, all that hard work undone. John McDonald has been licking a stamp and sending it through this race. He wants to get back these positions he's lost, man. So he's certainly on a mission.
Certainly is, but he's also got to have one eye on the championship just a little bit and not overdrive it. You've just got to take, positions and results when they come. You don't want to make it worse here and tumble from what could be, if he puts it all together, could get a 9th or even 8th place. There's a little bit wide there from Dostal. Up the inside he goes. It's going to be a drag. Might get a little bit of assistance if he's lucky from Smith here with a bump draft. No, he's not quite close enough. But now he's going to have to look out he doesn't get freight trained here. And he's able to get it in and hold on this one again. Doesn't like the 2 left-handers. He doesn't like turn one either, John. I know in practice he was struggling with it quite a bit.
Yeah, those two left-handers are actually quite difficult to tip the car in. You really got to get the balance right of the car to get it. And obviously, that's a bit harder to do in Dev Series with a bit less setup options. So, yeah, it's a bit of wrangling the beast sometimes in Dev Series, and just making sure you're coming in at the right speed. A little bit too fast, and it can be just quite hard to do anything. And overdriving it, heating your tyres, lose a lot of grip.
Yeah, so he's still got himself a bit of time to get those positions. In fact, looks like Aiden Williams may have lost a little bit of time on that last lap. But he's still back in there with Kai Jones, whose next man is Darren Kemp. And we've got Cooper and Green now battling it out. Former teammates, they still are in the same stable, but one's in Super 2 and one's in Super 3. We've also got Brapp and Warwick continuing their duel. And Scott Murrell 4.3 seconds clear at the moment, so he's looking in control. But yeah, a lot of these positions, in fact, just seeing John McDonald now in P9, so not sure what's taking place there. But Cecil's down a few spots now, as is Dostal. But Bratt holding on to second, Green holding on to fourth at the moment.
Yeah, I feel with this, it's kind of settling into a bit of a battle here for second, as opposed to trying to see if you can chase down first. Possibly they just don't feel like they have the pace to catch Murrell with his 4-second lead there. So probably struggling a little bit, and Warwick is now just really ranging up to the back of Bratt. We're going to see who's done a better job on tyres now, because this is where tyre life can really kick into it. Who's managed their tyres a little bit better, who's raced smarter.
Yeah, so the tyres at this point probably being in an all-right position. It's going to be the final 3-4 laps where we're going to see drivers definitely struggle quite a bit more, both with understeer through all the right-handers and then coming out of every corner with the traction. Just seeing a light out there. Cecil and Dostal broke themselves and ran each other off the road, or well, they both ran off the road, I should say. And with these guys battling, actually, looks like, yeah, Green on that last lap, just that little bit faster than Warwick and Brapp in front. So this is going to be a 4-car train here. These guys have 4 seconds over Kemp. So, barring any spins, like this will be the first of the patch that crosses the line. As it looks like Warwick looking to make a move around the outside. Brapp goes defensive.
He's gone deep. He's off the road. He's gone too hard, and Anthony Green lights it up a little bit. His eyes lit up, and then his rear's lit up afterwards. But now Warwick's not just going to lie down with it. He's going to try to hold it on the inside into turn 4 there. They go side by side. Warwick, a lot of curb, bit of door banging. Green probably won't be too thrilled with it as they press on. Yellows are out.
Had yellows out there for a split second. Did see an FG there, the Bodlow car. And now position being changed a corner later. So that's given Brapp a bit of breathing room, but he hasn't really made him pay. Still only 11.9 from him. 12.3, 12.1 and 11.9 for these guys. Kemp only in 11.8, so we are seeing here, Snipes, the lap times really starting to fall off for most of our runners. Aiden Williams, though, 10.6, quite handy. John McDonald, 10.8. So some of these guys are able to do some decent speed. In fact, all those guys in 10s are passing our race leader on that last lap. So there is pace from some of our runners. They just find themselves a little bit further down than where they want to.
Yeah, certainly. Unfortunately, that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. The race just doesn't quite go to plan. You bump someone's rear and spin out. And then you find yourself battling through the field again as we look towards Darren Kemp having a battle here, of course, with Aiden Williams, who's managed to get around him. So, look, an impressive first showing to be able to get around Darren Kemp in not a terribly long period of time there.
It seems to be quite a bit of pace difference between the two, and he just caught him at the right point and was able to pull it up vitally at turn 3. Kemp tried to make it back at 4, but I just don't think he's got the run in him at the moment. And so they all get a little bit sideways out of the final corner. And Kemp, I think if he's going to get that position back, he's going to have to do it in the next lap or two. Or on this lap, I'd even say. So I think Williams in front. He's a threat. He's a threat for a podium here, Williams. There's those cars battling in front. If he can continue doing 1 minute 10s, he'll catch those cars in front.
Yeah, he's been driving well. He's put plenty of laps of practice in, but now it's looking like he's starting to range up. Speaking of ranging up, you see we look here again towards Steve Warwick and Anthony Green looking at the back of Brett. Can they pull up in time? Well, jeepers creepers, yeah. Steve Warwick really does pull right up there. Goes a bit deep into turn 4 again, so just kind of loses the momentum he gains straight away, really. It probably puts him a little bit under pressure to Green behind him. But can Brett hold it together? He's might be struggling. Warwick is really starting to range up behind him. It could be real close here. Warwick's a good threat.
Yeah, I think Warwick does have the pace, but Brad's just been able to hold on and place his car in the right places. But he's definitely looking more in his mirrors than what he is in front at the moment, Brad. He's, when he has to, he's defensive. And he's just struggling. You can hear it with his throttle application. On, off, very binary. And a poor run there from Warwick has allowed Green to get by. And he's actually got the toe from Brad, but the problem is he's on the outside at turn 3. He's going to need to almost go up and under to make the move. He's going to try it. Now the problem is he's got the outside for turn 4.
Yeah, Warwick definitely tried to bully him a little bit through that corner. Definitely leaned on Green a little bit, but Green kind of awake to it to try to put himself on the up and under. But yeah, as we see, just puts him on the outside again. He gets a bit of a butt wiggle out of turn 4 and unfortunately halts his momentum. Now Cooper buys into this battle here. Possibly he can get one on Green here, which would be a pretty good scalp, you'd feel, but no, he just lets him have it into the last corner there, keeping it all nice and calm. But we're saving it perhaps for a better opportunity.
He may just be happy with where he is. P5, I think that's the best position he's been in all season. He's got pace, and yeah, maybe just happy with the position, but also just considering just saving his tyres and saving it for one last run on the final lap, perhaps.
Yeah, it certainly could be a good play. As I'm seeing here, Anthony Green's got a bit of a run on Warwick. I don't know if he'll be close enough to send it. He's paid. Well, he goes down the inside, gives Warwick a little bit of a bump there into 3, but it's not quite enough to destabilise either car significantly. So Warwick does retain his 3rd position, but Green now starting to really wage war on Warwick's bumper as Brett starts to once again drive away a little bit more, possibly securing a P2 here if he can just keep it clean, because the guys behind him are just starting to duel. Steve Warwick now just looking like he's struggling, Lewis.
Yeah, it looks like he's the one now just looking in his mirrors and ultra defensive here. Obviously a couple laps to go, you don't want to concede track position, but at the same time you want to try and attack the car in front. So he's in a really awkward position here. He needs a good couple corners to drive away. Just at least give him a bit of breathing room so he can concentrate on trying to get back after Brad. So he's certainly faster than Brad, but he just hasn't been able to get by. And when he has been alongside, he hasn't been able to make it stick. So at the moment, definitely looking more at the FGX right behind him and going defensive early. And as you can see in the background, that Sharon Rental's Aaron Seaton car starting to range up to the back of these guys. He is getting closer, and if these guys have a really poor lap, he's at all wide at turn 3, he could be a factor in the last lap.
Yeah, he certainly could, Lewis. As we see, you can almost throw a blanket over them. The 3 cars there, 2FG, not the FG, the FGX, and of course, and Green's got him. Steve Warwick's felt the pressure a bit too much. He's got a bump there from Cooper too, and he's lost the position, lost the podium to Anthony Green there. He's just fallen to the heat, and now it's side by side with Cooper. Can he hold on to it?
There's still 1 lap to go. A little bit of Mort's going on the back. He's got a slightly better run. Oh, a little bit of contact, a little bit of fishies there from Green. And Cooper's gone around, and Aiden Williams is right there as well. So he's not far away. If these guys make a mistake, he could steal a podium on the last lap. Of course, Scott Murrell in the lead, 6.5 seconds clear. Brett if he doesn't make a mistake, he's got a comfortable second place. But can Steve Warwick find a way back into third place is the question.
Not with the run like that, unfortunately. His turn 3 just not good enough. Not able to get the nose in the tyres. Will be feeling it. It's the end of the race and everyone stopped very early. Anthony Green's starting to look like he's got that position almost secured at this point. It feels like he's just driven away a little bit more. Now I suppose here the question is, can Aiden Williams put any pressure on Steve Warwick from behind? I don't know if he'll be able to. He's probably not quite close enough either. It looks like it's going to finish with Scott Murrell lapping people out P1. What a great race from him. He's just streaked away.
Yeah, was able to navigate his way through the traffic that didn't pit after the safety car early on. Was able to navigate that. Didn't put a foot wrong after that, after McDonald went off with the contact with Miles. So he'll take victory in race number 1. Bratt will come home second. Anthony Green will hold on to third. Steve Warwick fourth. He'll be a little bit disappointed he couldn't at least hold third. Never mind, try and get second and get by Bratt. Great recovery drive from Aiden Williams to fifth. Kemp, Cooper, and Jones 7th, 8th. And what was that that just spotted?
Auckland's run out of fuel. He's just dribbling down the front straight right now. He's trying to get whatever he. I don't know if he's going to make it, Lewis.
He's not going to make it.
He was, I'm pretty sure he was right on the top 10. He was at least on the bubble, on the precipice, so close, and now he's going to fall agonisingly short to the start-finish line. I've done this, Lewis, at Townsville. It's heartbreaking.
I've just panned out. You can see Teglason's gone into pits. I don't know if he had a penalty, if he's going to put fuel in or not, but that is where he is. That's where Lachlan is. That's what, maybe 150 metres, 200 metres short. Just short.
That is absolutely heartbreaking to come so close, and he was in for a really good result too. Yeah,
I don't know how you manage that with a compulsory pit stop and a safety car, and like you could make it to the end without pitting. He's going to get nudged over the line there by Cooper, which is technically, I don't think it's actually legal, but there you go. Controversy and drama all the way through this one, but Scott Murrell claiming victory in the end. Comfortable victory at that, but yeah, what a race.
Yeah, fantastic race there, honestly. Just, the track delivers. The track delivers. And ASR, historically in these cars, the racing is just absolutely banging. It's a great place to race. It's really tactical. It can be quite easy to defend, but there's still plenty of rubbing going on out there. And look, a couple safety cars there, wasn't it? One safety car, but reasonably clean restart. So I think a pretty good effort from a very large field tonight to get through that quite unscathed.
Yeah, I did say that. I thought there'd be at least one safety car tonight, and then it would probably bring a second as I dropped the remote. But it didn't. So the drivers were able to get through that period and managed not to cause another one. So hats off to everybody on that restart in not causing drama. We did have fast drivers at the back with their pit stops and slower guys at the front who didn't take pit stops. So it's a fair credit to everybody not to cause another one. It was unfortunate that McDonald on that restart, half or 3/4 of a lap through, did make that contact with Miles there, and it sort of spoiled his race and could have potentially caused another safety car, but didn't. But racing up and down the field outside maybe the last 10 or so laps for Scott Murrell up front, but everywhere else was spot fires and battle packs and all kinds of stuff was going on. So Queensland Raceway in the sim once again delivers.
Yeah, absolutely does. Now, I'm just going to quickly organise some drivers to get up into this for some quick interviews, but fantastic racing again, Lewis, honestly. Dev Series this season truly delivering on the action front. The racing largely has been just fantastic. Really not a lot to be complaining about there.
Yeah, not at all. Nothing to really scoff at. I'm sure most people would have come away with a positive opinion of the racing. Didn't see too much argy-bargy stuff, which is always good to see, and drivers giving them each other space. But yeah, very entertaining race, it has to be said, I think, for the neutral.
Yeah, it certainly was a very entertaining race for the neutral fan. I mean, I'm a race fan and I certainly enjoyed it. And it's certainly just good to watch hard, clean, fair battling and some fantastic drives from some of these drivers here to get through. And we're now going to start speaking to them. I've got a few to get through because I just wanted to speak to some people. I'm going to start here with Brap. Brap, wow,
Yeah.
great race, bro. P2, how'd you feel out of that?
Yeah, alright. Wasn't too bad. Just tyres are an issue. But did less tyres in the stop and seemed to jump everyone. So yeah, that was good. Yeah, just try to keep a couple of people behind so Scotty could get a bit far out, and then ended up they stayed behind me the rest of the race. So yeah, it was all good.
Absolutely excellent effort. Now you've been right in the battle pack for basically this whole race. That early safety car comes out, start of the race. Were you planning on pitting kind of that early? When were you ideally going to look at pitting? Or was that much later?
Green flag, yeah, lap 12. But I was if there was a safety car, I was going to take it no matter what. Yeah.
And after you pit, you find yourself obviously a little bit further back through people who haven't pitted. What's your plan there? Is it just eyes forward, try process everyone as quickly as you can?
Yeah, well, at the start I had Scotty and John in front of me, so I was just following them through. Really, they were doing the real moves. I was just happy to be there, and yeah, it all worked out.
An absolutely excellent effort for P2 there, Brad. Well done, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Alright, I'm going to move on to Hayden Cooper here. Hayden, how you doing, bro?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, good, man. Look, leading Super 3 runner out of that race there. A little bit of a late spin, I think, at the end. Unfortunately, dropped down.
I was coming 5th and then spin at the last corner, but still came 7th. I'm still really happy with that. Top 10. First top 10 of the season. First top 20 of the season, I think.
Very, very good effort there. What do you think's the secret to finding some pace around here?
I just did heaps of laps. Heaps of laps, and I found where to brake and where to turn in and all of that. This place is a lot trickier than what it looks on paper, I must admit.
Yeah, certainly. When you look at a track map, you go, that looks easy enough, and then you do it, and you find out all the late apexes and exactly what to do with them. You found yourself battling right up the front tonight, in a bit of a battle pack. Were you trying to see if you could get towards towards first, or were you just pretty content sitting around that 5th position you had for a while?
I was honestly just trying to stick with Anthony. I know he's quick, so I was honestly just trying to stick with him and learn from him and sit behind him for a little bit.
Well, mate, I think it was an excellent showing from you tonight. So very, very well tonight. This race, you've got a whole nother one to go. So very well done. Best luck for the next one.
Thank you.
I'm going to move on to almost like the sob story of the night. Darren.
Yeah.
Look, I've pulled you up because I got to talk to you about that, man. What did you do? Did you just underfill it, or?
You want me to be honest here? I'm actually not sure what I did. I did enough practice runs in the server on a full tank of 112. I put 120 in for this, and somehow I've run out on the last lap.
Absolutely heartbreaking. Look, if it's any consolation, mate, I've been there myself. I've run out of fuel basically at the finish line, but not quite at the finish line. Yeah. You found yourself in a reasonable spot though tonight, and you are essentially, well, I mean, Stephen DeVries is the effective championship leader of Super 3, but with him probably being a bit more part-time, I would consider you the effective championship leader of the category. So how do you feel you are going into tonight in this last race?
I'm going to be honest here and say absolutely horrible. I have not been able to get comfortable around here. I spent that entire race just being frustrated. It's a far cry from the first 2 races, I can say that much.
Well, look, mate, chin up. There's only one way from here. No, there's actually many ways it could go, to be fair. But hopefully one way it goes, and that's up, mate. You've still got a whole nother race to settle in and see if you can find the mojo. Good luck with the last one.
That's it. Time to reset and go again. Thank you very much.
I'm now going to move on to Anthony Green. Anthony Green, you find yourself up in another podium, in your short career here in ASR. How you feeling?
Yeah, not too bad to be honest. New cars real quick. That's all I can say.
Yeah, it seems to have a reasonably quick operator behind it. With the addition of the safety car, how'd you find the change there from the sprints that we've been having through to compulsory pit stop race?
It makes things more interesting. Again, a lot of us probably haven't done it, and it really shows in the pit lane. Like, there were a few. You can see it. There wasn't the greatest pit lane stack in there, and I think a lot of us lost out on it, to be honest. So, yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, safety cars do breed that sort of thing. What do you think you're looking for out of this next quali? Do you want to shoot for that top spot again and see what you can pull off, or what's the goal out of this?
I mean, might as well. It's quali for a reason, right? Might as well.
Banging. We love to hear it. You may as well just send it, right? Hey, bro. Well, you've been racing excellently so far tonight. I think you're doing a really good job. Well done on P2.
Thanks, man.
And P3, sorry. And yeah, well, good luck in the next race.
Thank you.
All right, Jeepers Creepers. So sorry, my brain's so slow at times. Scott Murrell.
How are we?
Oh, how are we, mate? Race winner.
I really need a cigarette.
You need a dart. You pitted. You found yourself in a pretty favourable position after that safety car. You got through the traffic all right, it seemed. You seemed to filter through the cars really well, Scott. How'd you find it out there?
Look, me and the PBF boys have been doing a fair bit of practice discussing what we're going to do in certain scenarios. I had a plan what I was going to do. Ended up paying off in the pits, so I was quite happy to jump in the pits and just try and push the lead out.
Yeah, that you certainly did. Ended up with quite a good gap in what has been quite a competitive field tonight. Do you feel it? Do you feel heading into the second race that you're ready to go? That you think you can just pull it off again? How do you think this race is going to go?
Look, it's going to be anyone's game, really. You've seen how close the top 5 is. I just happened to have it go my way, while others did not. So it could be anyone's game.
I love that answer, mate. Look, I'm going to say congratulations on your race win here, and best of luck for your second and final race for the evening, bro. Well done.
No, thank you, and quick shout out to Dane and Will for some of the pointers as well.
Rightio. I'm pretty sure you would still be here, Lewis, but that is the interviews done. So thanks to the drivers. Very well job. Very, very well job. There we go, Lewis. Man, we're fucking on form tonight with words. Very well job to all the drivers. I'm looking forward to another well job from them in the second race.
Yeah, certainly are. With the driver interviews done, and obviously race 1 done and dusted, we will have a second qualifying and a second race, but I think Snipes and myself have earned a little bit of a break before we go yelling at our screens again with all the drama that's going on in front of us. So we'll take a short break, but don't go anywhere for races, well, for race 2 as well as qualifying 2. So yeah, we'll see you in a few moments' time. All right, and welcome back to round 3 of the 2023 ASR Development Series from Queensland Raceway. We've had Scott Murrell take out race number 1 with Brap in second place and Anthony Green coming home in third after a spirited battle with Steve Warwick and his teammate Hayden Coupert. Not too far away from qualifying 2, just waiting for, I think, Kai Jones to get back in service. Just had a game crash, so should be back in the next minute or so, and then we'll be proceeding through. So yeah, moments away here.
Just moments away.
And the score's 2 for 22 after 22
It's a rather abysmal score, actually. They're scoring at a horrific run rate. I don't know what the fuck I'm on about. Alright, let's get back to some racing, man. I'm so excited for this to go. Not long to go, just waiting on Kai to get in. We will roll to another qualifying session. Who do you think puts it on top for this second one, Lewis?
Well, I mean, we did see late on in that race, so Aiden Williams. Yeah, Aiden Williams. I was going to say Williamson for a second there, thinking of the cricketer, but no.
Hey.
Aiden Williams did have some great pace in practice. He also had, obviously, great pace at the back end of the race. So I reckon with more running under his belt, I reckon he's going to be a strong chance. But again, I wouldn't put it past Anthony Green or Scott Murrell as well. They look very quick in the race. Kai Jones has entered. I'm just looking as well at the moment for those that are looking for updates. The Panthers are currently absolutely smoking the Sydney Roosters. Not that I know much about the NRL, except for the Storm are the best and go Queensland in the State of Origin. So yeah, we'll be advancing in 30 seconds. And Jesus Christ, Geelong are getting smoked by Richmond. I don't know what the hell's happening in the AFL. But
I couldn't care less about this week about NRL now. The Wires won. I'm happy as sweet as bro. But it's nice to see Sydney City getting shit stomped. That's always fun. They're a bunch of twats.
Yeah, but so is the Panthers. So
yeah, yes. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
But yep, yeah, we've just ticked over to qualifying. You can't see it on your screens. All you can see is the B-roll that's been shot by the Realm in, aka 7 Degrees. And I have ended up in that lake at one point. That is on your screen. That was more through me deliberately driving into it more so than getting nudged into it. But that's
a pretty fair effort.
You do have to go out of your way to get into it. And of course, there's the famous run all the way down into turn 3, where drama has been had pretty much every time a vehicle has raced another vehicle into that corner.
Well, let's see if we get more drama in this next race. I mean, I'm expecting more of the same. The track seems to just absolutely deliver here in ASR. It's got side-by-side action and a whole lot of cars. Again, we're going to go back to a qualifying session here, though, and the focus will be getting a good lap on the board. We're starting to tick over now. We're just synchronizing with Automobilista, so it will be away again very soon. And again, just find that space on track for yourself in which it's less likely you will get impeded. That's the best thing you can do if you want to put a good lap time down, because there's going to be lots of cars once again.
Yep, we did see a couple of drivers getting balked in the first session, but that was more towards the end. We did see a number of drivers going out there and actually setting bankers. We also did see drivers go and actually go not just for the one lap as well, Snipes, as that the server finally syncs and you can already see lots and lots of drivers already eager to leave the pit lane. And I'll just hold it on this shot here because, I mean, why not just sit in the pits and wait for this group to drive off is always my question when I see this in a qualifying session, Snipes.
Yeah, and it's not an unreasonable question, honestly, to be having. It's just better to probably just wait a little bit and find your space on track, man, because you get that extra couple of seconds of space, 2 or 3 seconds of space to a car up the road, can be absolute gold. If you start a lap a second behind and you're a second quicker, you'll be on them before the end of the lap. You will be impeded. You will lose time.
So look at this. Literally half the circuit is completely empty. I think Scott Miles the first one out on the circuit.
He sure is.
Cracker is going to have a heat. I think actually no, Cracker pressed escape. But like, if you were leaving the pits right now, you would have pretty much. Well, you would have an entire sector by yourself because the first sector ends over there, and you're going 40 kilometers an hour. So these guys are just far too eager to go out there and set a lap time, and they're going to do it in a lot of traffic. So I will try and get back to Scott Morrill here. He'll be the first one to attempt the lap once again.
Yeah, he's had a reasonable turn one there, Lewis. He got the nose in reasonably well. He's had a whole race of practice now. He finds the later apex there through turn 2, getting on the power, possibly a little bit later than you'd hope for, but pretty damn good still, especially for a lap 1. Let's see how he pulls it up into 3. Looking pretty tidy, getting the nose in. Definitely got plenty of turn coming out of that at this point. Getting on the power, a bit wide on the way out. You can get a track cut if you go too wide out there, but I'd say he's still absolutely fine as he heads down towards turn 4. Using plenty of track on the way in, but he's missed the apex at turn 4. It's an easy corner to kind of mess up, honestly. Through turn 5, reasonable, probably a bit more curb than you'd hope for. Will delay getting on the power a little bit, but it should still be reasonable down heading to the final corner, turn 6, a bit deep. He's looking to get the nose and he's just wrestling to get it in a bit. He doesn't quite get it into where he'd probably want it, but still not a terrible lap. I reckon it'll be the night. Oh, just
yes, that is a very solid banker. Another thing to remember, of course, track, because the server has been reset, not as rubbered up. So lap times, at least at the start of the session, aren't going to be as fast as what you'd expect.
Yeah, it's certainly a good place to be starting, nevertheless. The lap was reasonably tidy, so you can't be incredibly upset with that for your first one out of the gate.
Guy Jones has gone into P2. And just did see... Who was it? It was... They're wrapping to P2.
Oh.
Anthony Green, 1089. There we go, straight up. Said he's going to have a crack, and he has.
Yeah, no, that's quick. Now, these are people that have settled into a rhythm of a race, so a lot of the time that can actually really help set you up for just the qualifying session afterwards. If you've settled in and you've found your groove, it can be a bit easier to just pull that lap time out of the bag as opposed to, believe it or not, practice all before it. But let's see who can cop this one. Anthony Green, 8.9 is a great lap time. 5/10 of a second from P2 being wrapped.
That's going to be a very difficult marker to beat. And if he managed to improve even by a tenth or two, I'd almost just park it in the pit lane and go beat that, because even that 8.9 there, that's going to be difficult to beat. Like Chivers are struggling to do that in qualifying 1. Always Pratt's getting out of the way. He's close. He's only a tenth away, but around here.
He can get this right. He's got the nose in more here, Lewis. He's got the nose in more. This is smooth. He had a little bit of a wiggle on the way out, if I remember correctly. Just wasn't quite perfect on the power. I think this could be on.
Oh, made up time. He definitely made up time there. Oh, and this next lap.
Very wide.
Very wide there. On the entry to 1. Maybe a little bit naughty. And Cooper has gone into P2. He's done a 9.3. So Cooper here with this pace might find himself getting promoted with his teammates. So if you can keep that kind of pace up. So 1-2 for those guys. Bratton P3 is 5/10 away. And then we have Aiden Williams. He's in a pack at the moment, getting a tow from Darren Kemp. This first sector is up quite a bit on his own time and almost a tenth up on Green, but he's going to have to contend with Darren Kemp, who probably is also on a lap. I'm just having a look at the moment. Ethan Knight's gone purple in the middle sector. Murray's on a 9.2 to go second. But what can Williams do here? Another car off. That's McGillivray. That's Kemp off, and that's deep from Williams. He's continued on with that little bit of contact. He's up 4/10 on his own time, but he has lost time overall to Green. And what can he manage here? 1 corner to go.
Yeah, unfortunately, just followed Kemp a little bit. Still look, he's getting that nose in really quite well into turn 6 there. That's some of the best that I've seen. So it looks like he's feeling the car quite well. He brings it up to P2, improves by 3/10 to 109.2, and he's got time in that as well. So, you know, I wouldn't write it off completely that he could get up and near challenge Anthony Green here.
Certainly could, but he's just going to have to watch turn 1. There is a point where if you go more than halfway across that solid line of the pit exit, you may find yourself in the naughty books here. So Cooper is up on his own time here, but he's got Leslie Tegas in front to deal with.
Oh,
Both Super 3, but Cooper fighting with the big boys tonight.
yes, certainly. We get good showings again from Super 3 runners that are put in work though. He's put in work, as he said in his interview. He's put in a couple of 100 laps, so and that's certainly showing. And look, when you put the time, the results can certainly come out a bit more, can't they?
It certainly can. Now, man on screen, championship leader down in 14th, hasn't been able to set a decent lap so far, decent banker, so he's got 3 and a bit minutes to set a time. A couple of cars in front of him, looks like getting out of the way of, I think that's a Nissan, and obviously McDonald also now getting out of the way.
He's in an ugly spot here, Lewis. He's in a spot where he's not on a lap, so he's trying to let people who are on laps go past. He's trying to gain some space now, which is what he's trying to do, but he doesn't want to hold up Rodeo, I believe, on a lap coming up behind here, so he wants to get this right. He wants to find his own piece of track, and it actually looks like he's done a reasonable job of doing it. He backed away from them. He's given himself a few seconds worth of space here up the road, a bunch of seconds in fact. So that's actually a pretty good effort from John McDonald there.
And he's not giving a tow either to any of his rivals. I did think for a moment that maybe Kai Jones would try and stick with him and have a tow, but he's backed off even more. So he's got himself some space. And now it's all about putting it all together. Got the yellows out there, got a car to the inside that's just gone back to the pits. So his first sector won't be the fastest because he hasn't got a tow, but he'll be looking just to get himself into the 9s and try and get himself into the top 10. So up by 10 in the first sector.
Yes, certainly. Still a bit more conservative versus some of these guys who do have toes. Obviously, they're just losing out there. But he's 4/10 down, but he's improving, which is what he really needs to do. He needs to keep it clean through turn 4 and 5. He's finding the apex of 4, but it kind of pushes him out a little bit, which gets him off the gas. He's going to have lost a lot more time, honestly. That's pretty rough for him. He's basically putting pressure now onto this next 2 laps. He's got 2 laps to get it right.
Yeah, so that's not an ideal middle sector. Just couldn't quite get the nose in at turn 4, and then at turn 5 he's too early on the turn in at turn 4 and then too late on the turn in at 5. You need to swap that around. You can take a little bit of curve at turn 5 and it not be too bad, at least on a fresh set of tyres, but yeah, it's going to be difficult for him here. He's going to catch some traffic.
He's struggling. He's really struggling. That turn 1 and turn 2 was not good for John McDonald there. He feels like he just isn't quite feeling the car right now. It's understeering. He's not quite just slowing it down enough, and he's struggling with that car. I mean, he can still probably set a better lap time if he gets something right, but it doesn't look too hot out there for McDonald.
I think he's just slowed down at the moment just to give himself a bit of space. If he puts it together, he can definitely get himself into the 9s. I'm just going to try and have a look at his overall fastest time, which is a 109.3. If he was able to match that, it'll put him in 4th place, or it'll put him in 5th place, just ahead of his teammate. Probably not going to be able to do that, but if he can even just get himself into a 9.6, you know, he's going to find himself well into the top 10. So here we go. Lights are ablaze.
Gone a bit wide there out of 1.
Yeah, he's not got the nose in here. This is his last chance. A car ahead. That's David's gone off in front of him. The short chip through turn 2. Oh, it's actually Knight.
Doing some high-speed lawn mowing there, Ethan Knight. Keeping out of the way though of John, who is up on his personal best. He gets the nose reasonably well into 3. It's definitely looking all right for him there. Short shifting out of it though, so he's not trusting. He's not trusting his rears there.
He's not. We have seen Kai Jones move up into second place on that last lap in the 9.207. So Anthony Green, I don't think going to be touched at the moment. McDonald up 3/10. He's got to find a little bit more in this last sector if he can on his own time.
You can get this last corner right and find it. It's not bad.
It's solid. Short shift so he doesn't blaze away. So not going to be the fastest out of the final corner, but he's not going to make mistakes. It's going to be a 9 to 9.6. So gets himself into the 10, which is important. 9.621. So he's just a thousandth of a second behind Darren Loughnane, would you believe? And
wow.
Again, super tight times. Green blowing them away by 0.3 of a second. Sounds funny to say that, but around here, 0.3 is massive.
Yeah, that's a very good lap from Green, and he pulled it out real early, Lewis. He pulled it out so early.
Yeah, on his first run there, Green able to set the 8. And then after that, it took right until the end for Kai Jones to move himself up into second. So great qualifying effort from him. Aiden Williams in third. Hayden Cooper in fourth place. He was up there early as well. And Scott Murrell in fifth. McGillivray, great job from him. One of his better qualifying sessions of the season in sixth. Brack in seventh. Loughnane in eighth. McDonald in ninth ahead of Ethan Knight. Angus Brown in 11th place. Brandon Dostal in 12th. With Steve Warwick in 13th. So he was up there in the first qualifying session, couldn't do it in the second. That's probably got to be the story of the night so far there, Snops.
Yeah, just a bit of struggles there to just string it together. Probably just ran into traffic, couldn't quite find the right groove. Maybe just fell out with the track grip, dropping back to considerably less. So unfortunate there, but look for him to still make his way through the field. Steve Warwick, he's got pace. He'll definitely be able to do that. But we've got some enticing battles up the front, no doubt. There's some very, very, very quick people there. And a shout out to Aiden Williams on debut. Putting it in third for this race. He's put his previous qualifying effort was very good too. He's putting it in very good spots on debut. Well done to him.
Yeah, doing a good job, and I think he's automatically going to be placed into Super 2 after tonight. Just slotted straight in. Well, that's of course, should he get a seat, he'll be slotted straight into Super 2 with his speed. And in the race is also quite handy as well, even though he got caught out in the whole pit stop shenanigans. He was able to recover quite nicely to just miss out on a podium. So having a good night so far. Anthony Green though will start from pole in this one from Kai Jones. So again, great effort from Kai Jones for second place.
Yeah, fantastic.
Also been relayed some information. We do have a new championship leader. So after the shenanigans in race number 1, Brapp is the new championship leader by a point over Anthony Green. And then John McDonald is 5 points away from Green and 6 points off the lead, if that is correct. So very tight at the top now. Let's see that incident just after the safety car pulled into the pits for McDonald, costing him quite badly, but in the end, still able to get in the top 10 and picking up points, which will be vital later on in the season.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, in the end, the season's a marathon, not a sprint, right? You've got a whole lot of races that have got to happen between now and the end, which means a few things. One bad race is not a terrible disaster, whilst it's definitely still not ideal. There's a lot to go. But the best thing to be in any season is consistent. I'm totally living proof that you don't need to be fucking quick to do okay at points in time, because I'm gonna live on this cloud, Lewis. I got 5th in supercars and ASR last year or the year before. Not last year, the year before. I can't even remember what year it is. 2021. Gonna live on that. I never finished 5th in a race once. I'm not quick enough for that shit. What do you mean? But I was consistent. I showed up and I finished races usually around the top 10. And what that says is, if you can improve that 5 more spots, if you can finish consistently around the top 5 but consistently bringing good points, you don't need to win every race to be right in contention to be doing something very good.
Yeah, if your worst result for a season is only like a 10th place, you're definitely going to find yourself in, the top 5 or 6 in the standings at least. So it's vital that he picked up those points. But he'll certainly be looking for better results in the next one. And of course, the other drivers as well will be looking to try and continue on and picking up, decent results as well, Brap and Green. But, it's a little bit different being the championship leader compared to being, the one just behind and doing the chasing. There's a little bit of extra pressure for those that are leading the championship. Brap might not know, and Green might not know that he's in second and only a point shy. But it is a little bit different, and you may see people just drive, those guys just drive a little bit different, knowing that if you do make a mistake, it could cost you in the standings. So they may just tighten up a little bit and not be as loose or as aggressive as they normally would. So that is something that we may need to see or look out for going forward.
Yeah, for sure. An interesting thing to consider is also the last race we had a safety car really early, which played, well, a majority of the field took the opportunity to box immediately, change their tyres, take any fuel they may have wanted to if they didn't start fully fueled, which could be a strategy, and then get out of there. We may not get that safety car so early this race, or a safety car at all. So we might get the opportunity to see some more differing strategies. How many people are just going to bang it down the middle? We know last race John McDonald pulled the trigger really early. Will he do that again? Now he's had the experience of doing that, plus some laps under safety car and seeing what his tyres were like at the end. So will he try that again? Will other people try that again? Because it worked out quite well. Well, I suppose it's all to play for, and we'll find out pretty soon.
We certainly will. But we've got about a minute and a half until the warm-up session ends. It's just talking fluff and not showing you anything, because we are going to take a short break. I've got to go and refill my drink because we've just got to go and have a cold one, and I do need a little bit more alcohol. So with that, we are going to take a short break, but we will be back shortly for race number 2. Don't go anywhere. And welcome back for the final time here, at least for round 3 anyway, from Queensland Raceway, the ASR Development Series. We are moments away from race number 2. And an action-packed race number 1 with Scott Morrill claiming victory. Comfortable, but everything behind him, particularly in the last few laps, was quite hectic. So here we are, race 2. Championship has been, I wouldn't say turned on its head, but new championship leader. Brapp taking it from his teammate. McDonald moving down to 3rd, and Anthony Green now moving up into 2nd. And we are moments away here.
Yeah, all the cars just quickly find their spot on the grid. The crew quickly zaps them into their position. And yeah, we're nearly ready to get underway. What a massive grid.
Yeah.
Huge, how good.
30 cars, and the formation lap is underway, and that means we're back to some Joe Satriani. And it's my turn to run through the grid. And we have Anthony Green starting race 2 from pole position. Alongside him, Kai Jones in one of his best qualifying efforts in the series. Aidan Williams will start 3rd in his second qualifying session. Second race, Hayden Cooper will start impressive 4th place ahead of Scott Morrill, our race 1 winner. Reece McGillivray will start P6, Sideways Esports in the green machine. You won't miss that one. And we have Pratt starting in P7. New championship leader. Darren Loughnane will start from 8th place. Ran out of fuel at the end in race number 1. And we have John McDonald, former championship leader, now in 3rd place. He'll be looking to recover up the field in this one. He'll start 9th. 10th place, Ethan 9th. Then we have Angus Brown, Redback Racing, good qualifying effort from him. He'll start 11th ahead of Brendan Dostal. Steve Warwick, after qualifying 4th for race 1 and getting himself up into 2nd at the start, finds himself down in 13th for this one. Linton Muddle has qualified 14th for this one and had a little bit of an adventure down there just before in front of us. And Ryan Smith, fast start to the season, not very fast here at Queensland. So down in 15th in his first outing in the Fiat Commodore. He'll be looking to unlock some speed in the race in this one. Jesse Bennett will start in 16th for Skill Issue Racing. We have Darryl Callahan, another one who showed good speed, particularly in qualifying race number 1, but couldn't do it in quali 2. And Darren Kemp, well out of position in 18th position, but we do know he's a very good and hard racer. Mark Davey will start from position 19, ahead of Cracker in 2nd, or 20th I should say. He'll actually make the group this time, just ahead of his teammate Rody in 21st. Matt Cecil in 22nd, ahead of Brian Walsh. Then we have Laszlo Teglas 24th, Lou Diego 25th, Damo, his teammate 26th, and Chase Tippett in 27th on debut. Melody Smith in 28th, Jamie Walker 29th, and rounding out the field, Glenn Miles, as we see a number of drivers there out of position. So we'll have a little bit of a slight delay here, Snipes, but once again, this is going to be an intriguing race.
Yeah, it absolutely will be. I'm locked in here with Hayden Cooper. I'm just going to be watching the start of the 2 front runners, Anthony Green and Kai Jones. See how they each individually get off the line through the manic nature of the start. The lights are on, the revs rise. Let's see who gets a better jump. Anthony Green off the line, absolutely rocketed. What a
Cooper as well.
McGillivray's absolutely shot up from behind Cooper, and he's found himself into second at turn 1.
A very impressive start. He's come from
ridiculous. Kai Jones has gone off at turn 2, but that was wild, Lewis.
He's come from the nosebleeds and he's out in centre square at the moment. That is an impressive start. And now the run all the way to turn 3. Managed to get through there cleanly in race 1 as Morrill looking to make the move and actually scared McGillivray out of that. The 3 wide through the corner. Fast starter from John John McDonald, he's up into P6, so he's moved up 3 spots importantly for him. But Anthony Green leads 1.2 clear of Murrell now. And, well, the race just starting to get into a little bit of a groove, perhaps. So Dostal right into the side of Ethan Knight. Cracker getting helped around by Matt Cecil side by side at the back of the field.
Yeah, plenty going on up and down the field at this point in time. We've got people side by side everywhere. John McDonald diving it in. He wants to get out of that mess. He wants to get himself some fresh air. This is his strategy, and he is sticking to it. Now let's see how it plays out. I don't know if you get the luck of such fortunate safety car this time. As we look down towards from Anthony Green down behind him, Scott Murrell. Very interesting point. We have the same top 3, albeit in a different order here. And now the battle for first between Green and Murrell is on. He sure has. Murrell's got him.
Just too deep. Murrell into the lead. And looking very fast at the moment. So I don't know how John's going to go on those tyres, but we'll soon find. Well, we'll find out about 20 minutes time, I suppose. But Murrell, race 1 minute back into the lead. Always wide there. And he's just kept his foot in. He will pick up a track cut from that, I would assume, because he certainly didn't lose any time to Green behind. And already built up a little bit of a gap. These guys 1.6 clear of Brapp, who's got Williams right behind him.
Yeah, the top 4 starting to press away, or top 5 even, starting to press away just a little bit here. McGillivray for his incredibly fast start. It's just been swallowed up by these drivers that might have a little bit more consistency perhaps, at least at the early part of this race. As we look here, right at Aidan Williams ranging up on Brapp. Brapp just is giving it to him. He's not interested in defending the position at this point in time. He says if you want it, have it, although he's still trying to hold it around the outside. So interesting play here, possibly just losing time going side by side, but now Brapp possibly trying to fight it back.
I think Brapp just wants to just race his own race. It's not really forcing the issue. Didn't defend and didn't try and really force a move here into turn 4. I think he's just content maybe just to sit in the slipstream of Williams and hopefully get pulled along towards the front 2. I've seen Murrell though make a bit of a mistake somewhere that we haven't seen on this lap, because that gap to Green's coming right down. He did have a little bit of a gap over Green at the at a quarter of the way through the lap, and now it's absolutely nothing again. You see McGillivray running wide.
Yeah, absolutely. It is definitely on for young and old there. They are going at it again. Anthony Green and Scott Murrell, as we see Green a little bit wide out of 1. Who can tuck the nose? And Murrell on the brakes. He's gone a bit deep, getting a bit of push through the corner. He's trying to slow it down, but Green, unfortunately, it's arrested his speed mid-corner, because he's had to slow down to not give Murrell a bit of a bump there. But it's definitely applying pressure. He shapes to the inside at 3 to probably just put himself in Murrell's mirrors. Get the pressure on a little bit as he's looking right at the back of the CU in the NT sticker on his bumper. He's shaping again, posturing towards the middle of the track, just really letting Murrell know he's there. But Murrell just driving stoutly on the racing line, not really giving him a heck of a lot there as Green goes wide.
Yeah, just got that one all wrong. That's going to give Murrell some breathing room. But yeah, Green now looking racy. He's got a bit of a carrot in front of him to go a little bit faster. And a little bit of a toe can help either, but yeah, driving a little bit better than what he did when he was in the lead for the first lap and a half, 2 laps. But yeah, we're hoping at least by turn 3 just to get some of that time back. And he's going to have to start looking in his mirrors, because Williams not too far away, 1.3 off the lead, and he will have a toe. He's close enough for a toe to Green now. He has dropped Brapp.
Certainly a little bit of spread out there from the top few cars now. There's a little bit more settled start to the race. No early safety car as of yet, so we're going to start to see strategies play in a bit more, I think. Obviously we've had John McDonald boxed early and he still finds himself down there, so as people start to pit, we'll see where they kind of end up falling out. Some people might opt to box early here.
Yeah, we may see people in the next couple of laps. In fact, John McDonald about to be lapped.
Lapped.
So I reckon he must have just made a mistake, because on his previous lap he did set a 1:10.0 and was faster than our leaders. So pitting early for him doesn't look like it's going to work. So he may make it a little bit difficult here for our leaders. So on that last lap, what did John McDonald? He did a 35.8. So he's made a mistake somewhere. Good 25 seconds off where you'd want to be. So that's almost his race done.
He's holding up Murrell now, so he's got to get out of the way, and I think he is. He's buttoning off a little bit, but now, unfortunately, he's probably going to have to let the top 3 all go by, and then hope he can keep a gap out to Pratt. But yeah, that's John McDonald's strategy. All done and dusted there. He got the clear air, and unfortunately, he seems to have made a sizable mistake here. And it'll be if it's a big lockup, it could be painful to get to the end.
Yeah, I'm curious as to how that's happened. I'll have to find out in the chat after the race, of course. But at the moment, Murrell in the lead, and Williams now a slightly better run out of turn 5. Not close enough to make a move. Looking to try and set something up, probably for turn 3 here. Get the toe, get nice and close, and don't muck up turn 1. And again, stay in the wheel tracks for turn 2. And then try and force green to go defensive and set a move up for turn 4 or 5.
John McDonald's parked on the inside of the track. He's parked it. He's parked it.
What has happened to McDonald here? Maybe having some glitching and freezing issues. I know his PC had been having some issues prior. We've got a safety car. Just as John's parked it, we've got a car backwards. Cracker's backwards on the pit straight.
Okay, this is going to trigger it. Here comes everyone diving in now to the pits. And you have to think Murrell's going to lead that charge.
Oh, yeah, you'd imagine. We already did see a car just enter the pits. So, yeah, everyone will be pitting. Yeah, John getting massive screen freezes.
That's really unfortunate.
Massive shame for him, especially with the safety car coming shortly after that. And here we go. I don't think we'll see anyone stay out this time. So, those that have pitted. We'll make up time. And Jesse Bennett's staying out. Well, that's his race in the bin. And
side by side, lane action. Oh!
Brody again staying out, and I think Brad missed his pit or had to slow down and reverse.
Dostal's come in as Brad's trying to leave, and unfortunately he's T-boned Dostal on the way out as we see more people just crashing into each other in the pit lane.
Double stacking. I've just cut to a replay here, and we'll just see, he's got plenty of time on the safety car now. Well, I would if the replay screen would keep coming up. But green with a penalty of some sort. Not sure what that'll have to be for speeding just about, but we'll have a look anyway. So, I don't know, you wouldn't get one exiting the pits otherwise.
Yep, let's have a gaze. I'll go over gander at that, Lewis.
So, yeah, Cecil and Kemp not really double stacking properly. And then, yeah, the Nissan not paying any attention, running into the back of Cecil. And then into Kemp. You got Ryan Smith with Warwick, and he had nowhere to go. And that sort of blocked Kai. Jones was an absolute drama in the pit lane.
Green's gone into the pits totally okay, it seems. He definitely slowed down plenty. I feel. I'm just going to see if he's got it perhaps on the way out. Maybe he's got to just a little bit too happy-go-lucky on the old rev limiter a bit early, perhaps. Look, I think there's a chance that that's been what's done it. It's touch and go though.
I'll go back and have a look on the old replay, so just bear with us again. Again, we are under safety car conditions here. So, just take my replay thing off. I do apologise there. Here we go. So he's behind Brat. Keep an eye. Now, that cone there, just pause it and light, is where the line is. Pit lane speed limit is 40, and the limiter will hold you at 39. No, I don't think it's for the way out for green.
Getting some intel, it could have been when he was dropped. When he was dropped from his pit box, he might have not had it on there for some reason.
Oh, let's go and find out. We have time.
I've verified that, but
just keep an eye out and make sure we don't go green in this time.
I'm watching the leader right now, and we're coming up to the last corner, so I'll tell you if safety car lights go out. Lights are still on. We're going for another lap.
So that's alright. Let's give us time to have a look. Yep, there it is. There it is. The weight, you can see it here on the steering wheel. He hasn't got his limiter on. And he's driven away. There's 41, 42, it's 53, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe even up to 59. Oh, and then he's realised. Oh dear. So, the safety car has not been great for Anthony Green tonight. So,
that's going to kick him. That's going to kick him real bad. He's going to go right to the back here. Right to the back.
So, and he can't serve it under the safety car, of course. So he has to wait for the safety car to come in. He can't follow, he shouldn't follow the safety car in either.
Jeepers, there's a few cars between Rhodey and Murrell there. He's got Glenn Miles and Cracker, a few, so there's only two. Glenn Miles and Cracker between Rhodey, who is our race leader, and Scott Murrell, who is our effective race leader. So that'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Hopefully that doesn't cause issues as the pack essentially tries to file past P27 and P28 in this race. Are we going to go green here?
I'd imagine we would. The safety car... No, we're going
around one more time. One more time.
We are seeing it's Glenn Miles going to pit. I'm still surprised that we haven't seen Rhodey come into the pits. I don't know why he's stayed out. He's led a lap. He's now led, I think, 2 laps now. So, if he maybe wanted to just say that, hey, look, I led a lap. Well, he's done that. He's done it twice. But now his race is severely compromised. And he's going to be last outside of his teammate. It's out on the... Well, yeah. Outside of his teammate that's on the road. So Glenn Miles has just pitted. Cracker's a lap. I suppose those two are a lap down, but he'll be last of those on the lead lap once he does pit.
Yeah, certainly not quite the ideal play I feel for Rhodey, but hey, sometimes you just want to be at the front of the field. Maybe he's just like, hey, I don't find myself here too often. Let's just enjoy it. Let's race some people. Let's have a bit of fun. Maybe Rhodey can cause some chaos up amongst some of these front runners, as he is entitled to defend this position. So who knows what's going to happen. I'm sure the safety car lights will be going out at the end of this lap, though, as we approach turn 4. So only a straight to go as Rhodey gets checked up by the safety car here. But he didn't hit it. Was it all right? Just fine, but definitely getting caught out. So we see the pack bunching a little bit. I think Rhodey's trying to retain a bit more of his speed here. He's definitely not going too fast.
He's leaving a bit of a gap for the safety car this time round, so I do think we are going to go green. Just, yep, lights are out. Safety car is in. And it's penalty there for Bennett, but that will most likely be cleared. That is the leader's prerogative when... Well, leader's choice of when to go, and he's waiting, and he's gone. He's done that fairly well. He's got a little bit of a gap over Cracker, who is a lap down, of course. He'll be hoping his teammate does him a little bit more of a solid and sort of blocks the rest of the field for just a little bit. So he can maybe have lead a lap or two under green flag conditions. Funnily enough, his pit cog's up, so maybe he's coming into the pits on this lap.
You certainly. Oh well, that would be an interesting strategy. Coxie in the live chat saying his thoughts is that Rodi's betting on a second safety car, and honestly, you probably have to be at this point. You're out. You've got to stay out there and hope for a gap or something at least to go your way so you can pit.
Yeah, that's it. I think the only thing you'd have to really get, like, you'd be gambling on at this stage if you're staying out, is that, well, I might as well gamble on a fresh set of tyres with, you know, a couple laps of racing, and everyone else is out there on a set of, you know, old, worn-out hard tyres. So it's getting a big hurry up from Scott Murrell, and even Brad. They're going to go side by side at the final corner. They're all
oh my gosh, there's 3 wide nearly.
Brad's in the lead. Brad is in the lead after all of that, and Murrell's going to try and hold on around the outside at turn 1. We got another safety car. They've got another safety car. That is
wow.
Who's that around? That is, well, Hayden Cooper's come back into the pits. Luke Yeager is the car that was turned around. Of course, there's a number of cars back there, and he was stopped on the circuit, so that's why. So just right on board here. Got 3 wide in the final corner. Green's got himself a drive-through. I don't know what that's for. You have to check. We'll have to check that out for a second. Oh, so Brian Walsh has gone around secondary contact, and then he's just parked right in the middle of the road. Smith's made a little bit of contact there, and there we go. So that's what caused the safety car. Cooper is in the pit. And, well, Brapp is in the lead now. Murrell in second. Rhodey's in third. Surely he has to pit this. No, he's staying out again. I don't understand. Well, see, Green's got his drive-through back, but I'm pretty sure you have to stop-go from memory. And, well, Steve Warwick's made his way back up into fifth, but he's got lap car between himself and Green still has that drive-through to do, and Rhodey still has to pit.
Well, we're going to see it all settle back down now as everyone just trundles around behind the safety car for another, hopefully just a couple laps. Just a cheeky couple laps. So certainly a more safety car interrupted race, this one here, and it is the final race of the evening, and I find that can bring out a little bit more intent in some drivers to do well, so that can bring forth more mistakes. Perhaps we're seeing some of that, but also, you know, the racing's a little bit harder, I think, at the end of the night, as everyone's settled in. The nerves, perhaps, if there are any, before the race are gone.
I think Cracker may have got the lucky dog there, so he's just gone by at a rate of knots, and he's like, well, I'll definitely take that chance to get myself back onto the lead lap. So he's gone and just taken off.
Yeah, why wouldn't you? Absolutely. You may as well get yourself right to the back to the back of the pack, I suppose, but at least you're not lap down. You're back on the lead lap, and you're back in business to be able to do something, so that's certainly nice for Cracker. He'll feel that this race isn't all bust now.
Yep, and Rhodey finally coming into the pits. I don't know why he didn't do it last lap around, but he's made it. Finally into the pit lane. He's going to go to the back of the queue. Be just ahead of his teammate, I'd imagine. Cycle all the way through. Yeah, got the rest of the field there, and Cracker just coming out of turn 2. And Cooper, as you can see, he's got significant front end damage on his car. And did have a bit of pace in that machine, so we did see him pit that second time when the second safety car was called. Didn't see why he's got that damage, but that's why he would have pitted.
Yeah, if you're showing damage, it is a little bit reduced here for the development series. So it's usually that you can get damaged if you're absolutely sending it, but if your bumps and knocks aren't going to hurt you too much. But yeah, if you're needing to pit for damage, you've had a reasonably big shunt.
Yeah, especially the front guard's looking like that. It's never that long light hit. So once again, under safety car conditions, just run through the field. Now Brapp in the lead ahead of Scott Murrell. Anthony Green's in third, but has to serve a penalty. Warwick has made his way up to fourth place after a poor qualifying effort. Look out for him to really go after Scott Murrell and Brapp. Aiden Williams, another one who's got pace in that car. He's in fifth at the moment. Brandon Dostal's done a good job to get himself into sixth place. And then Darren Kemp, another one who's been able to survive all the carnage at the pit lane to get himself into seventh. Kai Jones down to eighth, but he's got speed in that thing. Darren Lachlan in ninth. I'll be hoping not to run out of fuel. Shouldn't this time with two safety cars on this side. Jesse Bennett, his teammate, right behind him in 10th. So good outing from them. Mark Davey in 11th with Darryl Callahan in 12th. Ethan Knight 13th place ahead of Reese McGillivray again. He's got pace in that car, so look out for him on the restart. Matt Cecil in 15th, and Ryan Smith having uncharacteristically poor round from him so far is in 16th ahead of Brian Walsh and Chase Tippett on his debut. Angus Brown in 19th ahead of Lindsay Murdoch. Laszlo Teglas in 21st with Jamie Walker in 22nd place. Have Melody Smith in 23rd, Luke Yeager 24th, and Rhodey, after not staying out for the first, or for staying out in the first safety car and on the first lap of the second, finally pitted. He's in 25th ahead of his teammate Cracker. Aiden Kippett a lap down, Glenn Miles a lap down, 27th, 28th, and then Damo, and unfortunately for Damo and for John McDonald, both of those guys out of this one.
Interesting thing from the last lap and the last corner there, Scott Murrell ranged right up alongside Brapp. I was right up alongside him down the entire front straight and side by side into turn one there. So certainly just letting Brapp know of his presence. He's here. He's ready to go. I think Scott Murrell's fired up and wants to take a second race win tonight.
Yeah, trying to play the mind games, but you don't want to go too far with that because you wouldn't want to find yourself overtaking the leader under safety car conditions like that. But shouldn't be too far away from the restart. I think this is the third lap now. We've had under yellow, but Brapp currently leading. I don't think he's actually won a race in the Dev Series as yet either. So our new championship leader, with his teammate out of this one unfortunately, he'll be looking to build a bit of a lead. His championship, well, one of his other championship rival, Anthony Green, he's got himself a penalty, so he'll find himself at the back of the field once he serves it. He'll be hoping there isn't another safety car, or if there is, it's after he's served it, because he's going to find himself a good 15 to 20 seconds off the back of the pack once he does. And the drivers warm in their tyres, I imagine we're going to go green at the end of this one. And then we have Steve Warwick. He's going to be one to watch. If he's able to clear green quickly, and Brapp is still in the lead and holding off Murrell, he could be one to look out for here, Snipes. He could be the Smoky.
Yeah, look, he's in a prime position to be able to do well. No one's going to be having problems with any tyres. Everyone's going to be good to go. I'm intrigued to see how good of a jump Brapp gets. Last time he led the safety car, I believe, also, right? He got a reasonably early jump.
Yeah, he did.
Perhaps I'm wrong.
No, he on his restart in race 1, I believe it was him anyway, he took off fairly early and got the jump. He's done it again. He's sort of double apex the final corner, and he's just caught out Murrell a little bit with the concertina. So relatively static and strung out. He's done exactly what he had to do, and now he'll be looking not to bowl a wide at turn 1 or 2 here.
Yeah, certainly. Now it's about just maintaining composure as we see the pack stream through turn 1. Who's that wide on the grass there? That is Hayden Cooper. Another, someone I think spinning there as well as we focus back to the front. Murrell goes around the outside into 3 on Brapp. I think there was Brapp locking up. They make contact. Murrell's going to be able to hold this here and is going to turn it possibly into the inside. No, Brapp's got a better run. Murrell's still on the inside, but Brapp then comes out to cover. Well, defensive driving from Brappy maintains the position, but Murrell definitely applying the pressure early as we looking ranges up more closely, but doesn't quite get the exit out of turn 5. He wants to be able to put the pressure on for turn 6. He'll have to wait probably now to turn 3.
Oh, and the both gone a little bit wide. Speaking of wide, and into the pits goes Green to serve his penalty. Oh, a bit of a... I don't know if it's because of contact or just too much lead foot there for Pratt, but a bit of a twitch on the exit of the final corner, and they're going to go side by side again. And he's
defensive.
Wide. He's wide,
Yep.
And that'll be it. I think unless he can get him back here into turn 3, I reckon we'll see Scott just drive away here. Does seem to have the face advantage, but he's punching on for Pratt, and Pratt's going to go for it here.
Yeah, absolutely. Scott ranges towards the middle of the track now. Hard on the defense. Brapp late on the brakes. Can he pull it up? He can pull it up, I think, but he's gone too deep. Now he invites Warwick into this party. It's going to turn into a 3-man, maybe a 4-man party. Warwick actually gets a poor exit out of turn 3. And now Brapp again looking at shaping up, but not quite hearty enough on the brakes to really apply the pressure to Murrell. I think you're right, Lewis. I think we could see Murrell driving away here. But you never know with what's behind him. There's still some talented operators there. They could. All it takes is a little mistake and they'll be right there. So who knows?
Yep. So here we are. Murrell's just eked out a little bit of a lead now. He's got a little bit of breathing room, and now it's Pratt that's going to have to start sweating here. It's Steve Warwick behind him, and then we've got Williams and Kemp with Lockinen in 7th, Kai Jones in 8th, Jesse Bennett and Callahan 9th and 10th.
Just a quick update on Anthony Green. He finds himself down at 26th post that poster's drive-through penalty there. So a long way away from anyone. Let's see how far off the lead he is. He's at this point 27 seconds down, so that sounds roughly correct, to be fair. And yeah, that's going to be hard to claw back. He'll be looking to try and get maybe towards the top. Oh, jeepers, 20.
Definitely needs a safety car, green-white checker, to salvage something. As Warwick and Pratt battle it out. Pratt losing it under brakes there, as does Williams in the background. He's going to try and hold on around the outside. Not on the racing line, doesn't quite have as much grip. So Warwick will hold on exactly what Scott Murrell wants. These guys battling, it's building up his lead. And Brandon Dostal now up into 4th place. Hasn't put a foot wrong in this one. Called the strategy well, avoided the drama in the pit lane. And find himself in front of Williams after he ran wide there, but turn 4.
Yeah,
so,
this has to be one of Brandon Dostal's best showings that I can remember here. A fantastic effort from him as we see. Was that Miles? Brian Walsh, sorry. Brian Walsh parked up there on the exit of turn 1, but I believe he's returned to the pits now. So out of this race for Brian, sadly. Everyone's streaming through. It's been a reasonably tame start to this post-second safety car period. Everyone's kind of been battling hard, but no one's been driving too hard off the circuit, so it's been good to see as we see a big dive.
Way deep under brakes, and Ethan Knight is lucky not to be sent to the stratosphere. Oh, Smith's been turned around there. I don't know what's happened, but we'll cut to a replay. So here we are, this is all the leaders coming through, and here's all this drama. So, oh, that is so unlucky for Smith. Ethan Knight just dropped it on his own and got saved by Smith, who was alongside him, and Smith got knocked to the infield there. Really unlucky for Ryan Smith, having a bit of a nightmare of a night. And Ethan Knight, so lucky to not just turn around and end up towards the back of the field there. But cut further ahead, and Kai Jones got himself ahead of Lockman and now setting his sights on Darren Kemp.
Yes, here we go. Can he get a move on the veteran of the league here? He shapes the inside. He actually got a bit more inside than I'm used to seeing from Darren Kemp there. Gives him a bit of a bump, but he wasn't quite brave enough under brakes to pull up the move, and he did give him a bit of a bump through the mid corner. It looks like he's got a bit of pace in that, Kai Jones. He has fallen down 5 spots throughout this race, sadly for him, but he's definitely got some, look, he's finding the apex there, and I think he's got the speed over Kemp, but can he convert that into a pass on Kemp? That's a hard question for a lot of these Dev Series runners.
Yeah, sort of needs to surprise him, I reckon. He's trying everything. A little bit of contact's not going to really please Kemp all that much. It's probably just going to make him defend it even harder. Also got Williams and Dostal battling it out. Bratt is just hanging on to Steve Warwick as well at the moment. But the biggest action is going to be between Kemp and Jones at the moment. Just under 2 laps to go now. As it looks like Dostal ahead. He's run wide. And there we go. There's Aiden Williams up into 4th. And he'll try and steal the podium. Kemp again going defensive. Kai Jones going to try the outside. He's going to have to try and just come in underneath him on the exit here.
Really opening that corner up. He's got the over-under. Look, he's been exercising some pretty good racecraft here. He's certainly throwing Darren Kemp a whole lot of looks. He's asking questions of his defense. He's not just doing the same thing every time. He's really trying to set it up. He's opening corners up. And look at that. That's a perfect example. He really went wide. He opened it up. A bit of a barge. They're both going to go a bit wide. Kemp's off the circuit. Don't know if he'll be feeling too happy about that. Kai Jones does get past though as we head towards the last lap, and Dostal and Williams up ahead also just absolutely dueling it out. We've got Williams behind Dostal again, so it's been incredible. The battles just in this top 10 have been phenomenal.
And Callahan's actually caught and passed Loughnane as well out of all of this. But looks like Jones just redressing that position. And Kemp going defensive into turn 2. I'm not sure why you defend there. To go further ahead, Dostal and Williams battling it out. World Championship 4th place here.
Yeah, they are absolutely duking it out. Let me tell you, Lewis, Williams just sent a mad move on Dostal into 2 and got it pulled up, and it was beautiful to watch, honestly, as we see the field streaming through on their final laps now. The gap to first to second is 1.5 seconds. Scott Murrell's got this one in the bag, and the podium positions are all settled. It's just for these minor placings as we look towards our race leaders, but who will get this 4th position? Who knows? We'll find out very soon.
I've seen funny things happen in the past, so like Murrell should get to the line and win this race, but that's not where the action is. He'll go 2 from 2. Warwick will get on the podium and claim 2nd ahead of Pratt. Good race from both of those guys. Williams will hold on, and then it will be Dostal. Great race from him. Kemp will hold on, and then it'll be Kai Jones, Callahan, Loughnane, Ethan Knight, and Mark Davey in the 11th place ahead of Jesse Bennett. Ryan Smith recovers to 13th. Lindsay Muddle 14th. Chase Chip at 15th, Matt Cecil, Laszlo Taglas, Rhodey, Reese McGillivray and Cracker. We've got a little bit of an argy-bargy down there at the last turn there. Between... That was Green and someone.
That was Green, Brown, Walker. And I think Luke Yeager was in that, perhaps.
And Smith as well. So just cut to a replay. So Green able to get himself to 13th after that drive-through, putting him down to 26th. So it's gone for a sort of half move, and then the car in front closed the door and then just stopped, and then just turned out. Just a mess. And then out of all that, Brown just says, "Yeah, I'll take those positions." And Green just behind Jamie Walker.
Yeah, that's if you're Brown, you see that in the last quarter and you're absolutely chuffed. Couple of free spots, we take that. It's absolutely brilliant for you. But yeah, unfortunate for Anthony Green there. That drive-through penalty really hurt his race, and it's a mistake in the safety car period. So that's what ended up hurting them. I'm just going to quickly wrangle some drivers. Lewis, how'd you feel the race went?
It was an intriguing race. We did see some more mistakes in this one. Also, some bad luck stories out there. But, that's just motor car racing. Did see some good drives as well. Brandon Dostal coming from the clouds to come home in P5. Steve Warwick, poor qualifying session from him, but able to get to P2. Showed his class and held on to Brapp in 3rd there. And we did see Callahan, another one that didn't quite match his qualifying efforts from the first race. Again, put in a solid drive as well. And Darren Kemp, again, able to get a good first lap in, able to not get caught up in the dramas in the pit stops, and finish inside the middle of the top 10 as well. So good drives up and down the field, some hard racing. There might be some more disgruntled drives after the second race compared to the first. But still, very entertaining racing. I'm sure most of the field will be quite content with, how that second race went, at least in terms of having someone to race, that's for sure. But, certainly an entertaining race again for the neutrals.
Yeah, for sure. We're going to wrangle up some drivers in just a moment. Going to talk to some podium getters and some people who haven't been racing in the league too long. So that's certainly going to be exciting. Just be a couple of moments. I thought the race was very good overall. Couple of safety cars definitely threw some spanners into the works. The strategy play was good, but man, it's great to see people who are coming in who are new to the league, coming in and putting on a real good show. With racing hard, but largely racing really fair and clean, but also exercising some really good pace. So it's nice to see always newcomers coming along, right, Lewis? But also to see them do well and race hard and fair is, I think, incredibly rewarding.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing. I mean, you always want to welcome in newcomers, and sometimes you sort of worry, what you're going to get. You're going to get, the guy that's, you can be really quick, but also, driving to the side of people. You sort of worry about that. But no, the guys that have come in, they've all been, pretty respectful from what we've seen, and they've been pretty handy behind the wheel as well. So it's always good to see, that happen where you're able to pick up new members to your community, and they're able to, sort of match the the standards you want to have in the community.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I'm going to, with that, talk to some members of the community that we have here racing for us, particularly, of course, tonight. Now, I'm going to start with our championship leader, Brat.
Yeah.
I believe it is. I believe it's still you, Brat. Well done, mate. You've done a very incredible racing throughout the night, finding yourself with 2 podiums. Reflect on it. How you feeling?
Yeah, it was all right. I just did the same 3 tyres again, and that seemed to jump half the field. And then I saw green speed, so then I had a little bit of buffer with that penalty. And then Rhodey sent Scott wide. Thanks, Rhodey. It was good. Had John in my ear engineering that last safety car restart. Just good night overall. Just happy not to fence it.
Certainly a good effort. Coming into this round, how are you feeling? Were you expecting to be right up there? Were you expecting to be kind of middling? Where were you feeling you were going to be kind of placing?
I don't know really. I was thinking more like maybe top back of the 8th or something, but just I guess the pit stops went well, got track position, and was just able to hold it, and a bit of misfortune from the other fellas, I guess. Just keep the nose clean and worked with Scott throughout the races basically.
That you certainly did. I believe you do have the championship lead, so you find yourself really right up there. How does that feel?
Yeah, I don't know. Just fluking my way to the top, and I'll try to keep it. It should be good. I think Barbagallo's next, and it seemed to go all right there. So hopefully keep it a bit longer.
Well, congratulations, mate. Great efforts tonight. Great to see you up there, mate. Well done.
Cheers. Shout out to Sun Energy 1.
Timeless. All right. I'm gonna speak now, please, to Steve Warwick. Steve, how you doing, mate?
I'm good, Snipes. How are you?
Yeah, good, bro. It's been a good night of racing. There's been some hard racing, no doubt. How did you feel you've gone out there?
I think I went all right. I'm a bit disappointed in my qualifying. I couldn't get that last corner right for the life of me. I could get the times up everywhere, but I just couldn't get the last corner right. I couldn't get the nose in, and I think Lewis said it actually. I couldn't get the nose in there and keep the power up through the corner. But all in all, my starts were good. I know in that race I started P13. I was up to P7 by the back straight, and then picked up 2 more. So yeah, I'm pretty happy. I enjoyed the battle with Brap. He's good fun to chase.
Oh, for sure. You've put on a pretty good showing all night. Unfortunately, some of the first race probably didn't quite couldn't quite get there.
No,
Could-
the tyres, that early safety car sort of buggered me up, and I actually changed 4 tyres, but the way I had the bars set, it just the rear end didn't last towards the end. It sort of did get real loose. But that time, because we pitted a bit later under the safety car, I just took on 4 new tyres. I spent 18 seconds sitting in the pit lane, and then came out and just went for it once we got a clean run.
Well, Steve, I had a smoky for a win, but we can't be too upset with a second and a fourth for tonight's proceedings. I think you've raced very well, bro.
Yeah.
Congratulations for your efforts tonight, and good luck for the future.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Oh,
Congratulations to the other 2 boys too. They drove well, both of them.
absolutely. There's a lot of very good drives tonight. Thanks, Steve. Very, very kind of you. I'm going to now move on to Daryl Callaghan. Is it Callaghan?
Yeah, Callaghan, mate. Yeah.
G'day. How you doing, Daryl?
Yeah, not too bad. Yeah, pretty happy with the result tonight. Like I qualified well in the first race, and I'm pretty new to this sort of racing on this, so I should have pitted with the other boys, and that put me way back in the pack. And second race didn't qualify that good, but was able to fight back to about 9th. So pretty happy way it went tonight.
Yeah, so this is your second round with us, I believe.
Yeah.
I believe so. You've raced through obviously SMP a few weeks ago, and now you've had a night at Queensland Raceway. How are you finding it so far?
Yeah, I find it good. Like I've done a bit of stuff on iRacing and that, so I'm not used to all the fuel and all that sort of stuff. So it's going to take me a bit of time to get used to like strategies and stuff like that. But I'm looking forward to see how I go the next couple of rounds.
Absolutely. Look, it's good to catch up here. You essentially, from what I could see, you won the Super 3 class for that second race, which I thought was a good effort there.
Yeah.
Fighting off the likes of Darren Loughlin, who's right up there in the Super 3 title fight. So, have you raced Barbagallo on any sims before or anything?
No, never raced Sydney Motorsport Park or Barbagallo.
Are you familiar with the circuit?
Well, yeah, I watched a bit of motorbike racing and stuff, so
Cool.
I didn't know how the circuits go, but as for driving on it, I've never been on it before.
Look, well, I mean, look, if you're anything like me, you'll love it. I personally think it's an absolute hoot to race. So, good luck with practice, and I hope it goes well, bro.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Cool. Well, very good job tonight to you as well, Darren. Daryl, sorry. It's been fantastic to have more newcomers coming along and putting a good name for themselves. So well done.
Yeah, thanks very much. I'd like to thank Nether for helping me out with a lot of updates and stuff. So that was great. Thanks a lot.
And finally, we will move on to, once again, Scott Murrell. Look, I think a pretty damn successful night would be a fair statement. Would you agree?
I am not going to complain.
It seemed you were racing hard up the front, hard but fair. It seemed was most of that racing up the front. You found your way through there. Tell us how it went. Hit us.
Yeah, no, like the guys that I was racing with are very respectful back in return. So we were all giving each other a fair amount of room, whilst racing each other quite hard. It was good fun.
Yeah, certainly put on a good spectacle all night. You're really putting a good stake for yourself in this championship fight, Scott. Do you see yourself being able to really go up and put pressure on for perhaps a championship?
Not yet. I struggle at like Sydney Motorsports Park. I really, really struggle with that track. This track seems to suit me quite well. But with a bit of coaching from Will, as he has been, I'll hopefully give it a crack.
Well, Matt, I think you've very fair to say you've done very, very well tonight. Well done on taking a clean sweep of the races. That's certainly a fantastic effort, mate. Well done.
No, thank you. Thank you to yourself and Lewis, and of course Nether and all the other admins for tonight.
And with that, that is all of our podium getters, our Super 3 race winner. I'm going to hand it back to you for the rest of the night's proceedings, Lewis. Ugh.
All right, well, with tonight over and done with, I've seen high drama throughout, mixed up qualifying sessions, safety cars, penalties, some hard racing up and down the field. I think the viewer watching this back, well, watching it live and watching it back, is going to be thoroughly entertained. Unfortunately, I know there's going to be a number of guys that are going to probably complain and say, hey, why didn't you catch this battle? But the fact is that there was, battles up and down the field. So you couldn't, unfortunately, catch everything. But, 30 cars, a short little paperclip of a circuit. And it's produced, once again, some fantastic racing in the sim. Doesn't always do it in real life. But, circuits like this in the sim, close field spread, you get the slipstream, which is a little bit overpowered here in AMS. But, hey, look, it brings about good racing, or at least entertaining racing. I think a fairly good night overall. So, unless you really... John McDonald had a bit of a shocker, and there's a couple others that, Ryan Smith, another one that, we expect good things from his first 2 rounds. Didn't have the night that he was hoping for, but I'm sure for both those guys, it's just going to be a blip for the season. But, I think no real complaints from me. Entertaining, good to call, good co-commentator. And, I don't really think there's much else to say. I will bring up, of course, the calendar. I don't have a graphic for this, but I'll just have to speak it out. The next time the Dev Series will be out on the circuit will be, of course, from Barbagallo, Wanneroo Raceway. That will be on the 2nd of June, and it'll be the same format that we've had tonight. So 2 75-kilometre races. And unlike this one, though, Snipes, it's going to be with an open tyre selection. So you can choose hards or softs. And we do know that it is a bit of a tyre killer. So I would expect, though, that people will just pit halfway with soft tyres and make it last. But again, if we see early safety cars, it's going to throw a bit of a curveball at the driver. So that's going to be interesting to see how the drivers deal with that one. But of course, next week on the Outworld Broadcasting channel on YouTube, we do have the ASR Supercars Championship from, of course, Queensland Raceway. Pretty much the exact same format, in fact, except 80 kilometres instead of 75. So I think it's just one additional lap. So we'll be interested to see how that one goes. I'm hoping that the team can replicate results we got last year. But that's probably more of a hope than anything. But anyway, next week, the ASR Supercars Championship on the Outworld Broadcasting channel. And from Queensland Raceway. Next time, the Dev Series out on the circuit will, of course, be the 2nd of June from Barbagallo. But from myself, Lewis Wedding, and from NZ Snipes, aka Kane Grave, hope you've enjoyed tonight's broadcast of the 2023 ASR Development Series from Queensland Raceway. So with that, bid you adieu, and have a good one.